we hold, values that keep us grounded still. Stand up for what is right. Don't let the world make your will. Freedom and balance, it's here to stay. So let's embrace this life our way. Tradition calls. If you don't stand firmly, hold it tight. If you let go of the reins, you'll miss your connection. So share a smile today in this community that we build. With love and respect, that's how our hearts can fill. We carry forward, we know our truth. In this great land, it's our time to move. If you want to stand firm in your lane, in new direction, hold it tight. If you let go of the reins, you'll miss your connection. Dreams and cherish every moment with values intact, we trust in them. We find our hope. Tradition calls. If you don't stand firm in your lane, you lose your direction. Hold it tight. If you let go of the reins, you'll miss your connection.
You know I'm standing firm while the world keeps a turn, trying to shake my freedom, but I ain't gonna frown. But darling, darling, hold your goblin hand. All you both can dictate, but I'm learning to stand with the spirit of the wild. Yeah, I'm ready to fight. I know more my spanking soul. I got my eyes open. Hey, there I can't sway. I'm fighting for its rights, and call me the free range mind. Never gonna waver. I'm a rebel with a cause. While others search for safety, I'll be raising my voice. Honey, I got my dreams and live with all my woes. I'll be living for tomorrow. Let the whole world know. Cause freedom not a game, it's a rhythm in my soul. Reaching for the stars, yeah, that's how I roll. Baby, I can't sway. I'm fighting for my rights, and call me the free range mind. We got a fire burning, and it won't be tamed. With every stride and stride I take, I'll always proclaim. Stand tall, stand proud, let the people know my name. In the night we rise, in the morning the same. Baby, I can't sway. I'm fighting for my rights, and call me the free range mind.
Times are changing, feel the buzzing, staying true when they're fussing. Keep the flag a-flying through stormy nights. With the star-spangled banner, I stand tall with manners. Cross my heart with hope in sight. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and prairie, with liberty. Stick to values in the trends. Families gather, let's defend. Hold the line, keep the bond alive. Truth in our vision. In God we make decisions for our dream. True, thrive and strive. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and prairie. With liberty, we'll keep fighting for what's right, standing strong in the night. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and bravery. With liberty.
You grab your guitar, I'll take my stand. We'll shout it out loud, the freedom we claim. You lace up your boots, the night's just begun. Oh, we're singing for liberty, fighting for fun. Ain't no government leash, will let me be free. I'll follow my dreams, just you wait and see. They say we're all crazy, just rebels in line. But we'll raise our voices, you won't toe the line. Got my buddies beside me, we'll stand and unite. With every strum of the strings, we'll shine so bright. Let them try control, we'll just smile and wait. For the world that we want, we will surely bend over. Let's have your guitars, take my stand. We'll shout it out, Homer. You know stars, man. Shout it out, Dr. Spicer. Will the freedom we claim. You lace up the boots, the night's just begun. While we're singing for liberty, fighting for fun. When the stars align, watch the night light up. With the rhythm of our hearts, we won't give up. Hold on tightly to our dreams in store. With passion and pride, we'll forever soar. Grab guitar, I'll take my stand. Waltz, you started out about the freedom we plan. You lace up.
John Birch, a soldier, takes the lead. With the spirit so brave, he conquers darkness. On his mission, hear the call, take heed. Through the shadows, red wild winds blow. He's seeking the truth, where few dare to go. John in the heart of the wild. John on a journey so styled. John in the heart of the wild. With faith in his soul, he speaks to the lost. flame, a guiding light for every soul that's searching for peace in his heart. May the sorrow cease. John in the heart of the wild, John on a journey so styled, John in the heart of the wild.
We stand for our rights, we won't back down. We'll fire our hearts, we're taking the town. Against the shadows, we'll fight for our land. Together we rise, united we stand. With the beat of the drums, we'll chant and shout across the sweet door city, the hearts of the crowd. No room for whispers, for fear and regret. Well, I don't story, you ain't seen nothing yet. Well, freedom we cherish, we'll make a stand. We're ready up to fight it. Time for our dance.
In the shadows they stand, with courage so bold, fighting for the land, legends to behold. They whisper of hope, like tales of old. Right's wing heroes rise, their stories unfold. Oh, they carry the flame ever bright, guiding us home through the night.
In the shadows they gather, with their banners raised high, a song of defiance echoes beneath the sky. They rise up in the night with passion burning bright.
In the shadows they stand, with courage so bold, fighting for the land, legends to behold.
We stand firm in our belief.
Hold tight.
Through the times clearer we can see. Crazy world spinning round.
Stay grounded.
In our hearts simple truths agree. Whisper of freedom and liberty
Rings true.
Our foundation strong and deep. Holding on to what we know, while the rest of the world lets go. Steady paths we choose to follow, while the winds of change blow. In the story we've built for trust and
Never doubt.
time flies but we won't bend. Communists talk loud and fast.
Stay solid.
Our quiet strength is our reply. So salute to change but pause.
Reflect.
In unity our dearest friend. Holding on to what we know, while the rest of the world lets go. Steady path we choose to follow, while the winds of change blow. In shadows we find our light. Through chaos we stay upright.
Stay
With courage, faith on our side.
forever.
Standing firm, our guide. Holding on to what we know, while the rest of the world lets go. Steady path we choose to follow, while the winds of change blow.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Culturama. It's wonderful to see such a lively audience already so soon into the stream. So thank you, everyone, for joining. And please, if you can, like and share the stream while we are starting so we can get even more people to participate in the zeitgeist. And like I say in the beginning of every show, the goal of Culturama is to participate in the zeitgeist and to take control of the current discourse and conversation happening in the United States today, so we can fight the infectious elements of postmodernism that has entered into all major institutions, whether that be higher education or governmental, and also societal as well. And as we will come to see in today's show, there are a lot of unintended consequences of such. So, like in the beginning of every episode, I say that we have a lot to cover, and that is absolutely and utmostly true today. But before I jump into any of that, any of the big headliners, which you guys already know by the title of the stream, the passing of Pope Francis. My condolences to all my Catholic friends and followers. I'm not Catholic myself, but I understand it is very difficult to deal with. Also, food dyes are off the menu, everyone. We're going to be talking about that and more. But first, hold on, let me get my sound effects up and ready. But first, I want to wish everyone a lovely Earth Day. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but it is Earth Day. I didn't see a lot of posts about it, but I want to wish every one of you a wonderful, blessed Earth Day. Now, I know that it is, not known to be a conservative holiday. It's also Lenin's birthday today as well. But I did want to remind you guys the necessity of appreciating nature. It is actually, I am an animal lover, so to begin the stream right and on the right foot, I wanted to play some cute animal videos with you guys here before we get into all the dark news of the day. And this episode might get a little dark, okay? So you guys better hang in there. But before I do that, I want to say hello to all my followers. I see that you guys are going crazy over the emotes. It is true. I finally did it. I put in the emotes. I figured out a way, and I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Of course, if you want to get the really precious ones, you're going to have to be a paid sub to get the Unleash the Beast. I see that Entropy Nomad has accessed those already, but it's good to see that the rest of you are already joined the rest of the emotes that we have on. So I want to say hello to all the followers that are on stream right now. I saw that Entropy Nomad was in the stream, Mr. Pig. Elijah Fire, good to see you again. And as well as Grizz Cheese. C. Sond Geroff, I always struggle with your name, but it's good to see you as well. Good sir. Who else do we have on stream? I think I saw Nelson65, if I'm not mistaken. Who else? Let's see. Grizz Cheese, Elijah Fire is just rocking it in the chat right now. Bucks Nasty, very good to see you, Bucks Nasty, and Whitey White 14. Welcome to the stream, the Culturama stream today. Very good to see you guys. I'm sure a lot more are going to come in today. Evan Rowan, welcome Evan Rowan to the Culturama stream. So let me play those videos for you guys, like I promised. We're just gonna start off this episode on a nice note, okay? I want us to be able to appreciate, as civilized individuals, the beauty of nature, the beauty of God's creation on this lovely Earth Day, everybody. Let me throw us into the room with there we go. Okay, this first one, you guys, who likes baby animals? Also, by the way, I see you guys are having paid... Hold on, I missed all the paid subs. My mistake. I can't miss that. Where is it? Where is it? I hope I didn't miss it. There we are. We already have our Entropy Nomad. Thank you so much. You gifted 5 subs to the Culturama podcast. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Entropy Nomad. You are very appreciated. And I think you were the one that first suggested emotes for this channel. I'm going to be adding a lot more. I am addicted to adding emotes now, so thank you. I'm going to be adding a lot more fun stuff. Also, Elijah Fire gifted 5 subs to the Culturama podcast. Thank you so much, Elijah Fire. It's really good to see you guys. See you in and here, and it looks like you guys are really appreciating and enjoying the Culturama stream. I think I first came across you, Elijah, on the Hollow Knight stream, so it's good to see you on my regular news talk show as well. Okay, I think I covered all those. Awesome. We can continue. Everyone, look at these lovely baby animals. Who doesn't appreciate lovely baby animals, right? We love animals in this stream, right? We love animals in this stream. In this stream, we are animal respecters, okay? So let's just watch a little bit of this. Look at that. Meerkats, lovely. They remind me of my dogs. Isn't that lovely, you guys? Someone threw in a pit bull emoticon in the chat. I love most animals. Pit bulls are a bit of a difficult one to love, but you know what? Once again, I'm gonna do my best to love all animals, including the pit bulls. Look at that, you guys. Isn't that adorable? He's eating a scorpion. It looks delicious. I'm a little hungry myself. And then we have Arctic foxes from Svalbard. I never saw foxes that color before. That's insane. Something is about to be eaten, says Elijah Fire. I hope you're not going to eat the foxes. How do we decide what to eat? It is very cultural. It is very culture-based, obviously. What I like to... Okay, Elijah Fire, you already opened up a big can of worms that I don't think you're prepared to. How do we decide what to eat? This is a subject that I actually think about quite often because I went through a... Did anyone watch Danielle Pensock on the Carousel, Red Whitey White? It was good. I do recommend the Carousel. If you guys... I'm completely went on a tangent. I did not take my ADD meds, I guess, as much as I should have. Yes, I was on the Carousel yesterday. That is Disgrace Propagandist's show on Substack. I highly recommend you guys watch that. Once again, it's called the Carousel. But anyways, Elijah Fire, how do we decide what to eat? This is a question I often pose because at one point I tried not to eat any pork and pig because pigs have the level of intelligence that is comparable to a dog. So it was very difficult for me to justify eating pigs for that reason. The way I quantify, like I justify what I eat is based on IQ level, or if not IQ level, at least the level of consciousness that a certain animal exhibits. Like if they present a certain level of consciousness that I can relate to, I will typically try not to eat them. For instance, if anything's smarter than my dog, I will not eat them. I will not eat octopus for this reason. Now, some people say that they have had pet cows, for instance, and that cows are very relatable and they can, love cows. I never had an affinity for cows, so I eat beef. I eat obviously fowl, but I just justify it based on most animals are smarter than my dogs. Same here. My Leo probably has below negative, like in the negatives IQ. Sometimes I wonder if he's sentient or not, but I understand that all animals are sentient. All animals have some level of consciousness, and also it's more of a neurological sort of reaction to the external environment. Now, I understand all living creatures have this, but obviously some more than others. I've owned a lot of fish. I've bred fish before. I am a big fish fan. I'm a fish fanatic. I am a hobby aquarist, I think is what they call it. But I would never go out of my way to say that fish are, conscious enough to justify not eating them. They're very, very, they have like a 5-second, it seems like, span. There's one type of fish that's pretty intelligent, and they are called the elephant nose fish. I really want to own that one. Don't know if I'll eat that one. They have a memory, like a pretty lengthy memory span. I highly recommend you guys look up the elephant nose fish. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. Geese. Look at this, adorable. I'm not really big on geese. I actually don't like geese all that much. They're very nasty, especially where I live. They're pretty nasty. Okay, what else we got here? Look at the seals. The seals are pretty nice. Also adorable. Reminds me of my dog as well. I eat whatever tastes good, writes Pork Chop 159. Beautifully said, Pork Chop. I've succumbed to pork. I've started eating pork again. It just tastes too good. The salt level in there is pretty high. It's very difficult to... What is this? Well-balanced white-nosed coatis. Coatis, that sounds interesting. Mexico. I don't even know what this creature is. I mean, you learn something new on Culturama every episode. Grease crap a lot, right? Whitey White. Yeah, they're disgusting. Every park I go to that has geese, Canadian geese are everywhere where I live, and every park I go to, it's like, you know, they just have to trash everything. Geese do. And anytime they enter a park, it's completely smothered in their droppings, and they just completely ruin the park. I can't knock it on the geese because they're animals. Hopefully some immigrants can take the hint from, you know, certain cultures and not do the same. But geese, for sure, they're like third world countries of the bird world, I would say. Unfortunately. I guess these creatures are sort of cute. I don't know what they are. What is a coatus? I want to look this up. Coatus. What are they related to? Oh, from Tupi, also known as the family of the Procyonidae. They're from South America. They are diurnal mammals. Okay. Interesting. They're mostly from Brazil, it looks like. I have no idea what this creature is. What are they related to? Are they related to, like, let's see, family? Oh, they're like related to raccoons. Okay, that makes, I guess I can see that. The Procyonidae includes raccoons, ringtails, coatus. Interesting. The only one of this species that lives near me are raccoons, so I'm not familiar with the rest of these. Like I said, in Culturama, we love animals. We love learning about them. Okay, let's skip polar bears. One of the fiercest of the bear species. I love hyenas. Hyenas are the most feminist creatures in the animal kingdom. And they're very interesting, very matriarchal. They're very longhousey. They're very interesting creatures. Very nasty, too. Did you know that the hyena is more related to the feline than they are the canine? I know, I didn't believe it as well. I really think this is one of those instances where zoology, I suppose you could say taxonomy, got it a little wrong. I'm not a zoologist, but when I researched this, I was caught aback when I found out they were more related to felines. There's a specific way that the skeletal structure is set up in which they have made that the criteria. So I don't like it. They're also more related to weasels than they are to canines. Very strange. Hyenas have a fake penis, says Entropy Nomad. Interesting. Welcome to the stream, Cecilia H. We are watching cute animal videos to begin the stream off right to celebrate Earth Day. And we have cheetahs from Kenya. Isn't that cute? Look at that. And then they grow up to be monsters. What else? We have we have chimpanzees. How do you guys feel about apes? I'm not a fan. They remind me a little too much of humans. Elisha Fire says he loves chimpanzees. He's a cat man, got it. Oh, here's your cat man. Here's some more cats for you. They're very chubby. Okay, so there was some baby animals for you guys. A monkey jizzed on my girlfriend at Busch Gardens once. Is that true, Elijah Fire? If that is true, please give us more information on that story. That's fascinating. I've never heard of that before. Oh, here we go. We have $5 from Cecilia H. Thank you so much, Cecilia. You wrote adorable. I'm all here. I am here for all the cute animals. Thank you so much, Cecilia. I love animals. I am a pretty strong animal lover. So I'm not a big fan of Earth Day, but I thought, to meet in the middle with the leftists, perhaps we can appreciate something. And I think, as part of God's creation, we love animals. I love animals. It's difficult to not love animals, so I figured to watch a few videos with them. But a monkey gone to heaven. Yes, ma'am. She has size G boobs. You're a blessed man, Elijah Fire. Wonderful. Monkeys are coomers, writes Whitey White 14. Monkeys, apes, gorillas are a bit interesting. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of old apes, old world apes, or monkeys. I'm not a fan of new world monkeys. I'm not a fan of bonobos, chimpanzees. They just remind me a little bit too much of humans. It's kind of weird and uncanny. I'm a big fan of larger canines, felines, I love reptiles. Not a fan of monkeys. They're very mischievous. Even the orangutan, even the wise orangutan, Mr. Pig, I'm not a fan of. I thought this was cute. This is more of a domesticated animal situation, but this is one of my favorite videos on the internet, so I found it. I searched for it today for extensively, but I finally found it, and this reminds me of a dynamic I share with a lot of people, and I'm sure you guys will as well. And it really goes to show the wondrous nature of animals and how they communicate. Isn't that sweet? The dog is just tolerating the bird there. Obviously they have a long-standing relationship, because if it was any other Chihuahua, it would bite the bird's head off. But he's just tolerating him. Isn't that adorable? And he just keeps going. The bird feels seen, and he feels heard, and he feels comfortable, and that's what matters in this relationship. Also, you guys, I'm not gonna get you're not gonna get through the stream without showing you a Chihuahua. Last but not least, we're gonna step away from animals for a second. Here's another Earth Day video. This is just to appreciate the beauty of nature. This one's a little more serious, but I do love how, God's creation is truly wonderful, and it does benefit us to protect nature to a certain degree. Obviously, enforcing a certain level of regulations can be tiresome. It is taxing, literally and metaphorically, but there is also something to be said about the importance of humans stewarding nature. Because look at this beautiful... This is real, not CGI. It's in Switzerland. Isn't that beautiful? I live in the mountains, but it doesn't compare to anything like this, obviously. This is only a few views in the world that you can get like this. Isn't that gorgeous? Mr. Pig writes, Japan is so beautiful. I've never been to Japan, but this is supposed to be Switzerland, but I'm sure Japan is beautiful as well. Exactly, Cecilia H. We are called stewards of God's creation. He gifted us this world, and we should take care of it. I agree. I'd love to visit this place. Look how beautiful. Amazing. Amazing. It is like a Studio Ghibli film. Thank you for sharing beautiful Japanese nature. Mr. Pig is just convinced this is Japan. It does look magical, whitey white. Very well taken care of. I don't know about the regulations in Switzerland. I don't know if they exceed ours or not to maintain this. I would imagine not a lot of people live there. I would imagine they don't also have a massive...
Did you know that you can have
and we have
permits
this ad,
in
of course,
just 24 hours? That's right.
a massive
Only
immigration
24
crisis
hours,
to
your
do
smile is ready.
ruin it. I don't know the population of Switzerland. It'll be interesting to look at that. Gorgeous. Oh, they're yodeling in the background. You guys hear that? They were. When you said amazing, I heard the echoes of JLP. That's because I was emulating JLP. I was. Just for fun. Amazing. Exactly, whitey white. Imagine being buried here in front of those mountains. Anyways, you guys, I'm going to jump into the news in this quick commercial break. Now, the Pope, food dyes, Kanye, we have a lot to cover in this episode, so you guys may want to stay tuned until the end of this stream. Since it is a Tuesday, I can go on for as long as I can go on. There's no Liberty Tonight show after me. That's on Thursdays. So we'll see how far we get. But thank you for showing up, you guys. Like I said, please like and share the stream if you want me to read any of your comments or, directly, or answer any of your questions, or even cover a specific story that you can link to. Send it a Rumble rant, and I will appreciate it and most definitely get to your comments there. Also, if we end up getting $70 of donations on the stream, I will, of course, let out my dysgenic dog on the stream that you guys so much love. And also, in the meantime, please join or visit the Culturama shop on ap4liberty.com. Or, I'm sorry, ap4libertyshop.com. I will put a banner for that a little later, where you can get wonderful products like this pillow and a body pillow of me or a body pillow of Leo. Anyways, you guys, I will be right back. Next, we'll be talking about food dyes. RFK Jr. has made an announcement. We will no longer be having Red 40, and we may, in fact, cure ADHD. Maybe I don't need my ADD meds. In fact, that remains to be seen. Everyone stay tuned. I will be right back, and I will pull those stories up for you here in a moment.
Dancing to the radio, spinning round in the glow. Carry dreams on the wind to see our heroes begin. Which shout will they light the way? With courage shining bright today, holding hands through the fights and fears, together against the tide of years. Remember when the heart stood tall.
This is what we hold, values that keep us grounded still. Stand up for what is right, don't let the world make your will. Freedom and balance, it's here to stay, so let's embrace.
Watch me on Rumble, on YouTube, on Twitch, and on X this Saturday. And that will start at the same time, 5 p.m. PST, 7 p.m. Central Time.
Well, here comes Danny Yellow like Marilyn with a twist. She's got a master's degree and a style you can't resist. On Culturama, baby, we're shaking up the scene. So hit that like, make it click, you know what we mean. Like and subscribe, come on, don't delay. With Daniela at the helm, we're leading the way. It's Culturama, taking back tomorrow today.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the four olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah. Who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have "Glad You Came Out" and "I'm so happy that you're queer" in the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. key employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hafer doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
Hey, Liberty lovers, stop scrolling, because if you're tired of the same old news, then I've got just the wake-up call for you. I want to thank you for tuning in to Culturama, and I know that you're enjoying every minute of it. Join us at rumble.com/AP4Liberty. The Wake Up America show is Mondays through Fridays, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. It's a great way to start your day. Coffee's optional, but waking up is mandatory. Remember, at Wake Up America, we'll keep you sharp, we'll keep you laughing, most of all, we'll keep you free. I'll see you in the morning.
All right, welcome back to Culturama. Now we're going to dive deep into the news, everyone. I've also noticed that we are 55 out of the $70 goal for the Unleash the Beast. Hold on. Feature.
Monster kill.
And if we get $70 in donations, for those that don't know, I will get out my creature from the depths of hell. He is severely dysgenic. He has been inbred 4 generations past. And so I will bring him on a stream for even the newbies to see if we reach the $70 goal. If we unleash the beast.
Monster kill.
But in the meantime, let's cover the news, everyone. RFK Jr. has come out and stated that we are going to be eliminating food dye from the food supply. So if you are a candy appreciator such as myself, get prepared to look at more muted and maybe lack of color altogether. Let me pull up this story right here for you guys, okay? Prepare yourselves. All right, so here's a tweet. Breaking news. The U.S. is finally phasing out artificial food dyes starting now, as of today. Wonderful. Whether or not you see it. Now, I will share my opinions about this afterwards, but let's just read through this. RFK Jr. and the new FDA commissioner just announced plans to eliminate 8 synthetic dyes from the American food supply. Red 40, Red 40 is the most well-known one. That's the one that's referenced the most, especially as it causes for ADHD and so forth. It's also considered a carcinogenic. We will be reading more about that later on. As well as Yellow 5, the petroleum-based usual suspects. This doesn't mean your Skittles are turning grayscale overnight, however. In fact, look at the EU for a clue what's next. They might search for or get sources from more natural products. In Europe, food companies are already reformulated popular products years ago. McDonald's strawberry sundaes in the UK use real strawberries. As you guys are probably well aware, Europe, or most of Europe, has banned the use of Red 40 and other food dyes. So we are a little bit behind the times. It's not as though other countries haven't done this before, but still, it might look a little different. Fanta is tinted with carrot and pumpkin extracts. M&M's, same colors, different ingredients. So yes, your favorite snacks might look the same. Might is a key word here. But they'll be using turmeric, beet juice, spirulina, and paprika instead of chemical cocktails with a site of hyperactivity and cancer risks. This is less about losing color and more about regaining trust. The question is, will we use this shift to prioritize real food and transparency, or just swap one process trick for another? In a world already full of synthetic everything, maybe it's a rare step back towards something real. Now, as a libertarian, I think that there should be options. Once again, I do wonder if there is an effect on taste. I highly doubt there is. However, if we do have, healthier, natural sources, why not use that instead? I really do wonder why other companies, especially candy companies, haven't really dived into this market. And for instance, if M&M's would put out a product and say, we only use natural food dyes, that would give them a more competitive advantage in the market. I think I understand that some other lesser known or alternative candy brands or other food brands do that, that I suppose dominate in the health foods industry. But still, major candy suppliers, I do question why haven't they locked into that, especially that other countries have already been doing this for years. Let's watch this video together.
Food dyes. Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is expected to call on food manufacturers later this afternoon to phase out the use of 8 dyes in our food supply. Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Tara Narula is here with the latest. So tell us about these particular dyes and the concern here.
Well, this is such a huge topic, and we've come such a long way from the 1800s when we first saw the first synthetic dyes made from byproducts of coal used in butter and cheese to today, where we see lots of these synthetic dyes used in candy.
It's true. A lot of it does come from coal. It's true.
Candies, cereals, sports drinks, it's almost everywhere. So we are specifically talking about these 8 synthetic dyes. Now, the FDA has oversight over the synthetic dye arena, and essentially they do review the science, but they say even though they review it, they can't be absolutely certain that there's no risk. Their official position is that while most children have no adverse effects, some children may be sensitive. The big problem here is that we just don't have the research. The research is old, it's mostly in animals, we haven't done post-market research, and we just don't invest in nutrition science or research in general. So what do we know from the research? We know that there are animal studies linking some of these dyes to cancer, and there are human studies linking some of these dyes to hyperactivity, neurologic, and behavioral issues in kids, and then some studies showing issues with inflammatory bowel disease and allergies.
So what has the government done so far, and what can people do to protect themselves?
Well, we just heard in January that the FDA basically removed red dye number 3, and companies will have until 2027 to take them out of foods and until 2028 to take it out of medicines. We've seen a lot of states really step forward. We've seen California be a leader in this in terms of taking 6 dyes out of public school lunches. West Virginia also leading in this case. We've seen other countries put bans on some of these dyes, or even warning labels in the EU on 3 of these synthetic dyes, saying that they can be linked to attention.
Entropy Nomad's excited that purple is still on the menu. Entropy Nomad, you still get your purple. Congratulations. Is purple your favorite color? I see green on here. Not happy that green is going away.
And issues in children. And then we've seen companies start to make changes. So, for example, some of the products that are used abroad use natural dyes. Those same companies are making those products here with the artificial dyes. So what does this tell us? This tells us that the ability to make these changes, that this is feasible, it can be done, and that this is really the direction that we are heading. And so what can you
do? You guys think that autism rates are going to just plummet after this goes through? I know that we talked about autism last stream, I think on Thursday, quite extensively, and we looked at the rates just skyrocketing last few years. And, you know, my theory was that we have expanded the definitions of autism and the diagnostic material, and it's just a lot of doctors are more keen on diagnosing it. But wouldn't it be funny? And RFK Jr. blamed it on vaccines, or he at least wants to look into the effects of vaccines causing that. Wouldn't it be funny if this just completely like eliminates autism, or even better yet, like Adderall prescriptions will just plummet after this? After this, we'll have a whole nation of super soldiers just being able to concentrate. Our reading comprehension levels, our test results are just going to like compete on that of China immediately after this. That'd be pretty cool. I doubt that would be the case, however.
Do as a consumer, you can read the labels, right, and look for anything that says
we can read the
dye
labels,
number something. You can buy organic. You can use.
I mean, obviously, at this point, it's like common sense, common knowledge. If you're gonna buy yourself a product, please, read the ingredients list. If there's at least like 3 or 4 ingredients there that you don't recognize, it's probably best you don't eat it. It is true. I mean, last couple of years, I've been in efforts to not eat highly processed foods. Obviously, once in a while, it's okay. I actually believe I have my own diet opinions. I think that once in a while processed food could be beneficial for you. I know it's a very unorthodox opinion. I think it's good to shock the system once in a while, but for the most part, you should eat from clean sources. And when I made that decision, actually, maybe 2 years ago, I decided to exercise and eat more fruits and vegetables. And actually, for the first time ever in my life, I went to the eye doctor. I wear contacts. And my eyesight actually got better for the first time ever since I was 8 years old. eating healthy from, eating from the most basic, at least foods with the most basic ingredients from clean sources. It doesn't all have to be organic. It all doesn't have to be exactly free range. But if you do your due diligence, yes, you will see a certain, output that will positively affect you. And also, I think it depends less on what you eat as much as a frequency. Once again, I think once in a while eating processed foods are okay, but it's a frequency of how often you eat them. So Elijah Fire is doing one-armed pull-ups now. Beautiful. So like I had mentioned on this stream, I, stated that I have ADD, and I'm sure all of us at this point know everyone that has ADD, right? Hyperactivity issues, maybe some neurological issues. So we have found that there is linkages between red dye 40 specifically and these issues, like that kind lady has told us on this video. But I found this article. It's just from clevelandclinic.org. You can look this up on virtually any website and they'll tell you. But let's read about red dye 40, shall we? Also known as red 40, the color additive found in many prepackaged foods that may affect those with ADHD, allergies, and more. Did you notice your kiddo gets hyperactive after eating a cookie coated with bright red frosting? I wonder if it has to do with sugar, but regardless, yes, it's natural to assume that sugar is a culprit, but research suggests that some of the blame belongs to artificial food dyes such as red 40. What is red 40? It's made from petroleum, okay? It is approved by the US FDA for food and drinks, but some studies have linked the artificial food dyes to hyperactivity, including ADHD. Studies have found linkages between dyes and increased ADHD or hyperactivity in children. Other studies show an improvement in behavior and attention once the dye is eliminated. Now, I personally don't think it will completely eliminate the presence of ADHD. ADHD is one of those issues or one of those problems that is so difficult to pinpoint the cause of. We do have studies to suggest that it is genetic. We do also have other studies that suggest that external factors exacerbate it. And it's difficult to assert, which one is more the cause of the other. Obviously, frequent access to technology or, phones, especially at a young age, which kids now as young as like 3 have phones, or even babies have access to iPads and so forth, that obviously will increase it. But as far as dyes are concerned, as far as food is concerned, of course, it doesn't hurt to hopefully eliminate some of these sources. There's also the theory that I'm going to posit for you guys, that the longer that we perpetuate certain behaviors, such as, access to screens at a younger age, access to certain foods, our education system is built around basically people. Also, our definition of ADHD is completely different from what normal human behavior is, but regardless. But even the way our education system is built, it can perpetuate certain behaviors over a certain period of time, where I truly believe, and there is, the studies that suggest this, that once people retain these behaviors, it eventually becomes genetic. The presence of such behaviors, that it becomes learned after generation upon generation, will eventually become a genetic factor. It'll take a number of generations for that to occur, but generational trauma, for instance, a known phenomenon in the psychology world, and up to the point where it can be inherited traits, like, for instance, not only hyperactivity, but like greater attention to detail, perhaps, or more neuroticism, higher neuroticism. All of these are inherited. This is why I believe that women are generally more neurotic than men are, because they had to learn that behavior initially over time, thanks to evolution. Whether sexual dimorphism is directly a byproduct of evolution, I suppose it is. But, women had to learn to be more, I suppose you could say, pay attention more to their surroundings than men do, because of their small stature. And over time, that's simply because of genetic trait. Anyway, let's continue. Currently, the U.S. doesn't have any bans up until now. This is obviously an article, but some countries say there's enough evidence to justify banning them, like we've mentioned Europe. Okay, here's some foods that contain red food dye. Red dye 40 is one of those popular color additives, one of the most popular, in fact. Foods that come in a package or process almost always contain food dyes like red 40, anything that's petroleum-based. It's important to read labels Okay, so here are the phrases that you should be looking for if you're trying. If you struggle from neurological issues and ADHD issues like I do, I also have to take gabapentin because I have neurological issues. You definitely want to look for these. Okay. Foods that commonly maybe RFK Jr. has got something here. Maybe I don't have to take gabapentin by the end of this year. We'll see. Foods that commonly include red 40, cakes and frosting. Okay, so Red Velvet fans, this is your moment. We're going to find more natural alternatives if you haven't been already. Any pastries, obviously, that comes in plastic packaging. Any highly processed cereals. Candy and gum. That's a shame. I do love gum. Yogurts. Puddings. Gelatins. Ice cream. Popsicles. Soda. Sports drinks. Makes sense. Energy drinks. Not a good day for the gamers out there. Sorry, guys. Protein powders, interesting. And chips and salty snack foods. I'm assuming Doritos has this. Okay, here are some of the side effects. The proven side effects of red dye. You guys ready? Hyperactivity, irritability, and depression. Allergic reactions, hives and asthma, sneezing, watery eyes, skin irritation, migraines. Okay, definitely need to look at not eating red 40 if you suffer from these. Red 40 contains a benzene. It's also known as a cancer-causing substance. Research has also found tumor growth in animals that consumed higher doses of food dyes, though it can be hard to translate what this means for kids. Some studies say that a small amount of benzenes and dyes couldn't pose a high risk, but she encourages steering clear of dyes as often as possible to avoid any adverse risks. I wonder what this has to do with. I wonder if this relates to the methylene blue community. Are you guys aware of the methylene blue phase that's happening right now, which is also I think it's like a porta potty dye. People say that has health benefits, but I wonder if these bans will affect methylene blue. Lastly, I did find this study right here. About food dyes. I wanted to just quickly skim through this with you guys together. Maybe we can find a certain pattern here. Fiery Waco says he has all those symptoms. Same Fiery Waco. Like I said, it's very difficult to untangle the sources of all these issues. Obviously, with technological modernization, societal modernization, with these advancements that, to be fair, prolong lives and better lives for most individuals, I would say. Of course, you're going to have some adverse reactions as well. One of those is, once again, perhaps ADHD, for instance. ADHD was an unknown diagnosis not even like 100 years ago, maybe a little over 100 years ago. I think it was first acknowledged at least in the 30s, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, we are going to have adverse reactions to the processes of modernization. It is important to acknowledge it, however, and better those situations. Now, I am a firm believer in the freedom of choice. I think that we should have the choice to choose between whether or not you want to poison yourself or not, effectively. But given the certain circumstances, since there are, it is an adequate amount of evidence to suggest that food dyes, they do cause neurological irritability, hyperactivity, headaches, migraines, and also potentially could be cancer causing, or at least cancer exacerbating. I think it makes sense that if we do have natural alternatives, why not utilize those more, or at least, steer these major companies into the direction of experimenting with that. Also because other countries have tested it and are widely successful in doing it, just like Europe. But talking aside, food dyes, a rainbow of risks. Very good for Gay Pride Month. Here are the list. Blue 1, blue 2, citrus red, green 3, orange B, red 3, red 40, yellow 5, and yellow 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm assuming these are all the dyes that RFK Jr. wants to eliminate. What is methylene? Methylene blue. I heard it was a dye as well. Am I not wrong? Am I not correct there? As a medication, it is called methylene blue. methylthoninium chloride. Okay. I just heard someone say that it was used as porta-potty coloring, so apparently this treats ADD. So I was wondering if this was a dye as well, but I don't remember exactly. All right, let's continue. So here is a summary of some of the studies that were done on these dyes. For instance, it looks like that blue one. What these are like outcomes: bladder tumors. So citrus red 2 gave rat bladder tumors. Green 3 gave possible bladder tumors. Okay, let's continue. Summary. Food dyes synthesized originally from coal tar and now petroleum have long been controversial. Many dyes have been banned because of their adverse effects on laboratory animals. The report finds that many of the 9 currently approved dyes raise health concerns. For instance, Blue 1 was found to be toxic in key rat and mouse studies, but an unpublished study suggested the possibility that Blue 1 caused kidney tumors in mice. Blue 2 cannot be considered safe given the statistically significant incidence of tumors as well, particularly brain gliomas in male rats. Guys, you better watch out. You don't want to have any Blue 2. Elijah Fire writes, meth is basically Adderall. Almost Elijah Fire. They are very structurally related. They're very similar. Adderall, however, is, obviously they're both synthesized very similarly as well. Adderall, however, at least from what I have read, still cleaner and not as harsh on you, given in the particular conditions that it is synthesized, rather than the street drug meth. Street drug meth also taken copious amounts versus Adderall, which is really strict dose given. I used to take Adderall. I don't take it anymore. I take Ritalin now, which is methylphenidate. Still has the word meth in it, right? But definitely difference in the structure between Ritalin and Adderall. But yes, as far as it's structurally, it is very similar. I wouldn't say they're exactly the same, though. It's not like a one-to-one situation. Anyways, continuing, Citrus Red 2, which is permitted only for coloring the skins of oranges, not used for processing. It is toxic to rodents at modest levels and causes tumors in the urinary bladder. Okay, Green 3 causes significant increase in bladder and testicle tumors. Yikes, this seems to affect guys more than gals. Orange B is approved for use only in sausage casings. Interesting, only in sausage casings. I've had sausage today. I hope I'm okay. But has been used for many years. Limited industry testing does not reveal any problems. Okay, thank God. Orange B is not that bad. Red 3 was recognized in 1990 by the FDA as a thyroid carcinogen. All those thyroid issues everyone has. Have you guys been hearing about this? Everyone and their grandmother has thyroid issues now. You should look at the diagnostics for that, or the rates of the diagnostics for that. But yeah, Red 3. I wonder if Red 3 has anything to do with it. I don't have thyroid issues. I got tested for like 3 times. It turns out I'm a hypochondriac, but I have been hearing a lot of people having thyroid issues. Anyways, Red 40, most widely used dye, may accelerate the appearance of immune system tumors in mice. The dye causes hypersensitivity or allergic-like reactions in a small number of consumers that might trigger hyperactivity in children. Interesting, this study talks about only children. I wonder if that has to do anything with the ADHD. It's interesting. People refer to ADHD as, only affecting children, or it's often written in the context of only affecting children. But it affects everyone, any age, any gender. Considering the safety questions and its non-essentiality, Red 40 should be excluded from foods. That's understood. And the Yellow 5. It's not a carcinogenic, but it was not adequately tested. It may be contaminated with several cancer-causing chemicals. Okay, so And then yellow 6 causes adrenal tumors in animals. So as we continue reading about this, because, initially I was skeptical about RFK Jr. pushing this, but the more I read about this, the more it makes sense why we should at least look into highly regulating these substances. There's neurotoxicity issues as well. Investigated the individual potential synergistic effects of Blue One. Oh, I'm going to have to read this some more on my downtime. Let's quickly read the conclusions. The most thorough studies of Blue One, which was sponsored by the industry, did not find evidence of carcinogenicity in rats or mice. On the other hand, other studies raised questions about the possible harm. A review by the IARC, a study on mice, states that male mice have statistically significant increased incidence of kidney tumors in a mid-dose group. Also, in an in vitro test, Blue One inhibited neurite growth and acted synergistically. Anyways, long story short, it causes neurological issues, okay? So, I'm definitely going to be reading this in my downtime, but long story short, there's your answer, you guys. At the end of the day, all of that really matters. You pronounced that very well, says Cecilia H. Thank you, Cecilia H. I appreciate that. I hope that's not sarcastic. At the end of the day, what really matters, clean, good sources of food and as little ingredients as possible. Obviously, a lot of this has caused a stir and a great hubbub among the general public, but at the end of the day, it just, remains to be quite obvious that yes, I do think there should be choices in what we consume. But if you truly want to care for yourself and for those around you, for yourself and, suggesting what others should do or eat, just go to the straight, clean sources. There's nothing trad or, return to tradition about that. That's just common sense. Doctors have been saying this for many years. Yes, the health industry and the medical industry has certainly changed their opinions on various things. But as far as food consumption goes, it's pretty obvious. More fruits, more vegetables, and more cleaner sources of meat. And that's all you really need, as well as grain. But anyways, we are still, unless anyone donated $20, we are still lower on the Leo the Beast goal, you guys.
Monster kill.
That, of course, remains to be seen as well. Anything can change in a matter of moments. Guys, I will be right back. I'm going to be talking about Pope Francis, everyone. Catholics, prepare yourselves. This is going to be big. I will be right back, everyone. Stay tuned.
I'm standing firm while the world keeps a turn, trying to shake my freedom, but I ain't gonna frown. But darling, darling, hold your goblin hand. All you evil can dictate, but I'm learning to stand with the spirit of the wild. Yeah, I'm ready to fight. I know more mindless thinking, so I got my eyes open. Hey there, I can't sway. I'm fighting for the rights, and call me the free range mind. Never gonna waver. I'm a rebel with a cause. While others search for safety, I'll be raising my voice. Honey, I got my dreams and live with all my woes. I'll be living for tomorrow. Let the whole world know. Cause freedom not a game, it's a rhythm in my soul. Reaching for the stars, yeah, that's how I roll. Baby, I can't sway. I'm fighting for my rights, and call me the free range mind. We got a fire burning, and it won't be the same. With every stride and stride I take, I'll always proclaim, stand tall, stand proud, let the people don't know my name. In the night we rise, in the morning the same. Baby, I can't sway, I'm fighting for my rights, and call me the free-range mind.
Times are changing, feel the buzzing, staying true when they're fussing. Keep the flag a-flying through stormy nights. With the star-spangled banner, I stand tall with manners. Cross my heart with hope in sight. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and free, with liberty. Stick to values in the trends. Families gather, let's defend. Hold the line, keep the bond alive. Truth in our vision, in God we make decisions. For our dream, true, thrive and strive. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and prairie, with liberty. We'll keep fighting for what's right, standing strong in the night. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and bravery, with liberty.
You grab your guitar, I'll take my stand. We'll shout it out loud, the freedom we claim. You lace up your boots, the night's just begun. Oh, we're singing for liberty, fighting for fun. Ain't no government leash, will let me be free. I'll follow my dreams, just you wait and see. They say we're all crazy, just rebels in line. But we'll raise our voices, you won't toe the line. Got my buddies beside me, we'll stand and unite. With every strum of the strings, we'll shine so bright. Let it try control, we'll just smile and wait. For the world that we want, we will surely bend low. Fathers, have your good trials, take my stand. We'll shout it out, Homer. You know.
This is what we hold, values that keep us grounded still. Stand up for what is right, don't let the world make your will. Freedom and balance, it's here to stay, so let's embrace.
Watch me on Rumble, on YouTube, on Twitch, and on X this Saturday. And that will start at the same time, 5 p.m. PST, 7 p.m. Central Time.
What we hold, values that keep us grounded still. Stand up for what is right, don't let the world
Let's watch this video together, everybody. There is His Holiness, Pope Francis in a coffin. No lid, huh? Okay. Definitely an open casket. A lot of rituals involved here. Here's also a video of Pope Francis' final
breaking up with
moments
grocery store.
Before his passing.
I get a box of.
Can I ask you guys a question? I saw Pope Francis. I'm not Catholic. I'm gonna be respectful. I am a Reformed Christian, so you can understand my affinity with Catholics. Regardless, I know it's a big change. What's happening here? It's crazy that it happened on April 20th, one of the most biggest Easters that we've had, the unification of the Eastern and Western traditions, because Easter it landed on April 20th for every Christian involved. But but I don't follow the Pope, but even I noticed that because he had like a health issue, right? And he was MIA for a bit. This was just a few weeks ago, I think, or maybe a month ago. And then when he had returned, he looked like, I'm sorry to say, he kind of looked like Jabba the Hutt. Like he was in a wheelchair. He looked inflamed. So something seriously happened to him. I don't know what the health issues are. Maybe someone in the chat can, that has more details could let me know. But didn't he look like completely different within a matter of days, if I recall correctly? I don't know. Someone can perhaps let me know. But once again, like I said, these are the final moments. April 20th, 2025, the day before he passed. There he is, getting wheeled out.
Fratelli e sorelle, buona Pasqua.
E con la preghiera i cristiani
People are saying that it's the antibiotics that could have affected him. Yeah, perhaps.
dell'amato medio
It just wasn't looking good, There it is. So, he had his meeting with JD Vance. This has stirred a lot of conversation online, saying that JD Vance was the last man to see him, and therefore it's his fault that caused the death of the Pope. Obviously, the Pope was 88 years old, so this was a long time coming. Cecilia H. had mentioned in the chat that he had declining health for the last month. He has a bronchial health issue. So, obviously that would, that on top of being 88 years old, would obviously contribute to his passing. I've seen a lot of, outlandish statements from people online about this. Obviously people are joking, say it's JD Vance's fault, which, obviously is just tongue in cheek. It's not true. I saw a big account try to blame vaccines for the cause of his death, and then they later deleted it. But it's just like, come on, you guys. Like, obviously he had health issues. He's older. This was just going to happen. But I do feel for JD Vance. Obviously, he's not responsible for it, but it must feel somewhat uncomfortable being the last person, or the last high-profile individual, at least, to publicly have a meeting with him, and then that happened. Again, following one of the most eventful Easters that we've had in a long time.
Good to see you in better health.
Grazie. Said too soon. There he is in his Pope-mobile. So those were his last moments. Looks like it was well spent. But here's an article detailing this, so let's read this together. Vatican says Pope Francis died after a cerebral stroke. Okay, so that is the presumed cause of death. The Vatican says Pope Francis died of a stroke that put him in a coma and led to heart failure. And the death was confirmed on Monday by Dr. Andrea Arcangeli. Anyways, by Dr. Andrea, the head of the Vatican's health department. Francis, who suffered from chronic lung disease and had part of one of his lung removed as a young man, was hospitalized 38 days earlier, this following a respiratory crisis. So, like Cecilia H. has clarified that in the comments. The next pope is still to be decided. Now, there's been a lot of debate about this in Twitter. The death of the pope sets in motion a series of carefully orchestrated rites and rituals. Eligible cardinals will eventually vote for a papal successor in the Sistine Chapel, in a process known as the conclave. Francis charmed some and alienated others. Of course, as some of us know, I mean, even I know this, Pope Francis was one of the more contentious popes, okay? He has made some statements about some things that people would consider based and trad, and then statements about other things that others wouldn't consider based and trad, particularly having to do with immigration. Now, you know, as a Christian, of course, coming to explain certain political events or perhaps political decisions, as a religious leader, you're going to look at those certain issues, such as immigration, for instance, from a different perspective than other people, more salt of the earth people, one would say, or nationals. So obviously, you know, perhaps it's a bit unfair to assume that Pope Francis would share the same viewpoints as we do, or the same perspectives. But like I said, he was one of the more contentious popes. Elijah Fire, yes, he did say that. He did say that word. Yep. In Italian. He said it in Italian. And I remember I talked about that online a while back. It was a while ago, though. But he did say a slur in Italian, yes. We have $5 from Rowhouse. Thank you so much, Rowhouse. What did you say here? Daniela, your thoughts on these new Pope front runners? Africa and Asia, they say, will play a big role. And then you send in a link. Rowhouse, I will get to your link here after this article. Once I read this article, I'll pull up your link. Thank you so much for your donation and your contributions, Rowhouse. You are amazing and a big... I know you're a fan of Culturama, and Culturama is a fan of you. So thank you for that. But after this article, I'll pull up your link, Rowhouse. Okay, anyways, continuing. Francis charmed some and alienated others. The Argentine-born Jorge Mario Bergoglio brought a breath of fresh air into a 2,000-year-old institution that had seen its influence wane during the troubled tenure of Pope Benedict, who's the 16th. Whose surprise resignation led to Francis's election. But Francis soon invited troubles of his own. And conservatives grew increasingly upset with his progressive bent, outreach to LGBTQ+. I forgot about that. That's another big one. He was a bit more, flexible when it came to the LGBTQIA community. So that's another big one. His outreach to the LGBTQ+ Catholics and crackdown on traditionalists. He's a mixed bag. Like Elijah has stated in the chat, he did say slurs. He did have, he also made that statement about females having certain positions in the church. So, he did have, he was a mixed bag. So it is confusing. On the other hand, he did do the LGBT outreach. So, fairly alienating, but let's open up this article. Pope Francis reached out to migrants and the LGBTQ+ community, but also drew unusual opposition. So let's quickly skim this. Jorge Mario Bergoglio was born on December 17, 1936, to Italian immigrants in Buenos Aires, Argentina, the eldest of 5 children. He was ordained as a Jesuit priest in 1969 and led the Religious Order of Argentina during the country's murderous dictatorship from 76 to 83. He became Archbishop of Buenos Aires in 98 and elevated to Cardinal in 2001. Just a quick life summary there. Pretty ambitious. And he was elevated to Cardinal by St. John Paul II. He was later elected as the 266th Pope on March 13th, 2013, on the 5th ballot. Francis's firsts. He was the first Pope from the Americas. The first from the Jesuit order to be elected Pope. I did hear about that. That's why a lot of people were kind of like joking tongue-in-cheek that, of course, it would take the Jesuit to do the outreach to the LGBTs, right? I joke. I don't know anything about Jesuits, so I wouldn't know that. The first to take the name of Francis after St. Francis of Assisi, one of the better saints, and the first to visit Iraq, meeting its top Shiite Muslim cleric in 2021. Okay, his position. Let's read some of his positions, you guys. So, his position on migrants. Advocating for migrants was one of Francis's priorities as a pope. His first trip outside Rome in 2013 was to the Sicilian island of Lampedusa to meet with newly arrived migrants. He denounced the globalization of indifference and shown to would-be refugees. He prayed for dead migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border in 2016 and brought 12 Syrian Muslims to Rome on his plane after visiting a refugee camp in Lesbos, Greece. Okay, so, kind of iffy there. Especially with the Syrian Muslims refugee part. Okay, but let's dive further. LGBTQ plus stance. Early in his papacy, Francis signaled a more welcoming stance towards the LGBTQ plus people, declaring, "Who am I to judge?" Who is he to judge? When asked about a gay priest, I'm sure this is not an uncommon pattern, so perhaps it was at that time it was easier for him to say this. In a 2023 Associated Press interview, he declared that being homosexual is not a crime and later approved blessings for same-sex couples. That's right. Again, I don't keep up with this stuff, but that was a pretty big deal, and this was one that a lot of Catholics took issue with, understandably so. I mean, most Christians would in general. I'm a Protestant, and I take issue with that, so provided they don't resemble marriage vows. Environmental stance. Francis became the first pope to use scientific data in a major teaching document and made care for God's creation a hallmark of his papacy. Okay, I don't see any issues with that. In 2015, his environmental manifesto quoted Praise Be, or titled Praise Be, urged a cultural revolution to correct... Hey, on Earth Day, by the way, everyone. Perfect time to read this. Urged the cultural revolution to correct what he called the, quote, structurally perverse global economic system that exploits the poor and turned Earth into, quote, an immense pile of filth. Many popes before him, though, also called for better care of the environment. I think that's fine. Clergy sexual abuse stance. This is where it gets spicy. The greatest scandal of his papacy came in 2018 when he discredited Chilean victims of clergy sexual abuse by siding with a bishop whom they accused of complicity in their abuse. Okay. It's a spicy meatball, says Elijah Fire. Yes. Do I have a sound effect? Realizing his error, he invited them to the Vatican and apologized in person. He also brought the entire Chilean Bishops' Conference to Rome, where he pressed them to resign. Okay, so he rectified those previous indiscretions. He convened a summit of the Catholic hierarchy in 2019 on abuse and sent a strong signal by defrocking former U.S. Cardinal Theodore McCarrick after a Vatican investigation determined he abused minors as well as adults. My God, the utmost confidence to think that you can do that to adults as well. All right, were the adults complicit? Like, did they... I don't know. Anyways, Francis passed church laws abolishing the use of pontifical secrecy and establishing, understandably so, and establishing procedures to investigate bishops who abuse or cover up for predator priests. He was dogged by high-profile cases where he seemed to side with the accused clergy. Yeah, so obviously he's going to go great lengths to rectify his previous indiscretions or behaviors in siding with these people. This is one of the issues I have with the Catholic Church is, of course, like this article states, the culture of secrecy that it's the culture is imbued with. Obviously, any religious hierarchy or system, or even down to your smallest Protestant or evangelical churches, you're going to have leadership conduct. Oh, look at this Range Rover, nice. Do pretty messed up behaviors, and they, people in leadership will go very far to justify poor behaviors, understandably so. So this is not understandably so that officials justify those behaviors. I mean, understandably so that we could blame, we could point the finger at basically any religious hierarchy. However, I do want to reiterate that the culture of secrecy doesn't just relate to sexual misconduct. The culture of secrecy is very pervasive in the Catholic Church throughout its history. And that is what steered me away from joining the Catholic Church. Believe me, I've had a lot of people ask me to. But as far as the history is concerned, I just couldn't do that. However, I'm glad to see that at least Pope Francis went out of his way, like I said, to rectify those poor behavior or his indiscretions, like I said, in siding with these people, and hopefully rectify the entirety of the system, so abuse like this won't reoccur. Okay, well, Row House, let me respond to your article. Let me pull it up here for the chat. I have to scroll up, Row House, your donation. Where is it? Okay, Row House, here is the article that you sent. It's a BBC article. Wonderful. Oh, I pinned your comment. Excuse me. There we go. Wonderful choice, Row House. Let's read this together. Who will be the next pope? Key candidates in an unpredictable contest. Like Row House said, Asia and Africa will have pretty strong roles in this. Yes, and like Mr. Pig is saying in the chat, please hit the like button and share the stream, if you will, to all your group chats. I'm sure they'll like it, especially your Catholic group chats, everybody. Okay, let's continue. Who will be the next pope? This decision could have a profound impact on the Catholic Church and the world's 1.4 billion baptized Roman Catholics. It also promises to be a highly unpredictable and open process for a host of reasons. The College of Cardinals will meet in a conclave in the Sistine Chapel, like we've just talked about or read, to debate and then vote for their preferred candidates. With 80% of the cardinals appointed by Pope Francis himself, they are not only electing a pope for the first time, but will offer a broad global perspective. For the first time in history, fewer than half of those given a vote will be European. That's huge. Yes, my goal is 70 for Unleash the Beast. I think someone's asking that in the chat. For Unleash the Beast, the goal is $70 of donations per stream. Anyway, huge. That's a huge change. Once again, for the first time in history, fewer than half of those given a vote will be European. Okay? Major shifts are happening. I don't know if this is obviously it'll be by design because these are appointed. Since it is done by design, is this justifiable in the sense that did Pope Francis then elected these people for that reason? Is there a greater DEI issue or, agenda within the Vatican? And although the college may be dominated by his appointments, they were not exclusively progressive or traditionalist. For those reasons, it is harder than ever to predict who will be elected the next pope. Could the cardinals elect an African or an Asian pope? Or might they favor one of the old hands of the Vatican administration? Here's a selection of names being mentioned as Francis's potential successor, and we expect more to emerge in the coming days. Godspeed, Pope Africanus, says Mr. Pig. Okay, so here are the list of popes, everyone. We have Pietro Parolin, Italian. Hang on.
We have an
Italian pope, age 70, there he is. Softly spoken Italian cardinal. Cardinal Parolin was the Vatican's Secretary of State under Pope Francis, making him the Pope's chief advisor. Having acted effectively as deputy pope, he could be considered as front runner. He is viewed by some as more likely to prioritize diplomacy and a global outlook. So even if they do get the European, he's going to be more of a global homo kind of guy. So anyway, makes sense. Let's continue. Next on the list, we have Luis Antonio Gokim Tagle, nationality Filipino, age 67. There we go. There he is. I don't have an Asian sound effect, but just... Cardinal Tagle has decades of pastoral experience, meaning he has been an active church leader among the people as opposed to a diplomat for the Vatican or cloistered expert of church law. The church is massively influential in the Philippines, where about 80% of the population is Catholic. I've heard that before. They're pretty based Catholics over there in the Philippines. The country currently has a record 5 members of the College of Cardinals, which could make for a significant lobbying faction if they all back Cardinal Tagle. He is considered a moderate. Okay, so we have a more moderate guy. I'm feeling this one. If I were Catholic, I'll give you guys my opinion on this. He is considered a moderate within the Catholic definition. I gotta be honest with you guys. I don't know anything about this. Okay, so this is the first time I'm hearing of these cardinals and these people. So I'm gonna read through this and maybe I'll give you my opinion here. The first guy, he's European. I'm not feeling his ideological stances. All I had to do was read the first sentence. They said he had a more global perspective. That's all I needed to hear. Typical, European, global homo kind of guy. Okay, makes sense. We have $5 from Lucas Liz. Thank you so much, Lucas Liz, for your donation. And all you wrote was Leo. We are now $60 towards, actually no, 65, I think, because Row House donated. So we only need $5 more, you guys. $5 more, and we will get Monster Kill here. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so this Filipino guy, more moderate, he has been dubbed as the Asian Francis because of his dedication to social issues and I thought he was moderate, but he's still dedicated to social issues and sympathy for migrants. I'm not a fan of the sympathy for migrants. Let's continue. Next, we have Fridolin Mbongo Besungu. He is Congolese. He's 65. I'm liking the green. Look at Liz says, yep, that black guy will get it. Yeah. It's very possible. Oh, here's first sentence. Look at Liz. You may be right. It's very possible the next pope could be from Africa, where the Catholic Church continues to add millions of members. Cardinal Mbongo is a leading candidate. Quite the name, Mbongo. Hailing from the Democratic Republic of Congo, or the DRC. He is a cultural conservative opposing blessings for same-sex marriage. Okay. Stating that, isn't it, how interesting is that it takes the African guy to be the more based of the options so far? Yeah, he's African, sure. Will be novel choice, but at least he has a more conservative stance in the LGBTQ plus outreach. He also says that the unions of persons of same sex are considered contradictory to cultural norms and intrinsically evil. All right. Though Christianity is a majority religion in the DRC, Christians there have faced death and persecution at the hands of the jihadist group Islamic State and associated rebels. So this guy is not going to bring in Syrian Muslim refugees in like Pope Francis did. This guy knows what's up. Okay, he's seen real stuff before, or at least has heard of it. He's seen real persecution. Against the backdrop, Cardinal Ambongo is viewed as a fierce advocate for the church. I think I might be liking this guy. But in a 2020 interview, he spoke in favor of religious plurality, saying let Protestants be Protestants and Muslims be Muslims. Okay, I don't like that part. We are going to work with them, but everyone has to keep their own identity. I mean, I'm a strict individualist. I agree. I say the same thing. Like, do I wish more people are Protestant? Yes. But at the end of the day, like, everyone is their own person, right? And it's good to have a little variety. So, you know, as long as it's not, you know, unkempt growth, as long as it's not completely just uncontrolled and crazy, and, you know, you have a mishmash of cultures and viewpoints to the point where it becomes unrecognizable, where, you know, your community or your nation becomes completely unrecognizable for what it once was. But I do believe in the beautiful nature of difference. This is why I do like to learn about different cultures. This is why I think the existence of certain cultures and civilizations and cultural histories is actually beautiful and interesting. I like to learn about different religions as well. I love to learn about Orientalist or Eastern religions. I think it's fascinating. However, I do also recognize that it's best that we also acknowledge the differences of those cultures and systems and religions and maintain them where they are so we could still maintain variety. If you put it all together, it's the beauty of difference will not exist. Next person, Peter Kondoa Appiah Turkson, nationality Ghanaian. This guy right here. If chosen by his peers, influential Cardinal Turkson would likewise have the distinction of being the first African pope in 1,500 years. Like Cardinal Ambongo, the man is claimed to not want the job. I'm sure whether anyone has aspired to become a pope. I'm not sure whether anyone aspires to become the pope, he says. Where are his political views? Like many cardinals from Africa, he is more conservative. Guys, our best bet might be an African here. However, hold on a second. He has opposed the criminalization of gay relationships in African countries, including his native Ghana. I don't think that's left-leaning. I mean, opposing criminalization is one thing. It's different from that and blessing unions, right? So, understandable. So those are all the choices. The two Africans seem to be the best decisions here. But considering their ideological leanings, interesting how, you know, the Filipino and the Italian. So if I had to pick one, I mean, I would probably choose between, you know, the Mr. Ambongo versus Turkson. I would have to learn more about their differences, but they seem pretty similar. Mr. Ambongo's tolerance from Muslims may be a little bit of a red flag, so I might have to go with Turkson on this one, but I'm not sure. We have, you guys, $5 from Look It's Liz writing, "It's Leo time." This is the part where viewership either drastically drops or increases. I'm going to be getting my dog out, everyone. The Leo the Beast meter has been... Not that sound effect. Has been out here in a moment, everyone. Please stay tuned. Let me play the commercial break. We have another donation. $6 from Row House. Row House wrote, "The Beast will be released." Then Daniela and Leo can discuss how their Easter went. I'm gonna get Leo's outfit ready, you guys. Stay tuned. I'm going to bring out my dysgenic creature out on stream like you guys all want to see. So hang in there. The Beast. All right, I'm gonna put in the commercial break and I'll be right back, everyone.
Well, comes Danny Yellow like Marilyn with a twist. She's got a master's degree and a style you can't resist. On Culturama, baby, we're shaking up the scene. So hit that like, make it click, you know what we mean. Like and subscribe, come on, don't delay. With Daniela at the helm, we're leading the way. It's Culturama, taking back tomorrow today.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the four olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah, who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have glad you came out, and I'm so happy that you're queer. In the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. The employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hafer doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
Hey, Liberty lovers, stop scrolling, because if you're tired of the same old news, then I've got just the wake-up call for you. I want to thank you for tuning in to Culturama, and I know that you're enjoying every minute of it. Join us at rumble.com/AP4Liberty. The Wake Up America show is Mondays through Fridays, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. It's a great way to start your day. Coffee's optional, but waking up is mandatory. Remember, at Wake Up America, we'll keep you sharp, we'll keep you laughing, most of all, we'll keep you free. I'll see you in the morning.
Monster Kill.
the beast, everyone. You asked for it, you got it. This is, like I said, a handmade hat. This is like a summer or spring dress. He also wears it for Christmas sometimes, but I think he's worn this one on stream before, but it is one of his favorites. And of course it has pearls, but on it as well. That was also added by hand. But Leo loves to be on this show. He loves it when he gets unleashed from his den. There he is. I'm going to take this hat off of him because I don't think he likes it too much. I just want to show you guys the spring hat here. Isn't that lovely? Just a lovely outfit to go out and have some tea, you know, underneath the trees outside where it's nice and warm and sunny. Isn't that right, Leo? He loves his tea and crumpets, my boy. Okay, let's remove this hat here. Leo, we are discussing the recent passing of Pope Francis. Leo is Episcopalian. I just want to put that out there. So he's not quite Catholic, but he understands the high church procedures and rituals. Leo, I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on the Pope's passing? Do you have any opinions on who you think should be his successor? Please let the chat know. Well said, Leo. Thank you so much. Okay, everyone, this is Leo. For those that are new here, I just want to let you know Leo is 3 or 4 generations inbred, certified. We did do a DNA test on him. It explains a lot about why he is the way he is. He has extra toes. His teeth, well, a lot of his teeth has fallen out. You know, he has some health medical issues, but he has a heart of gold. And that's what matters here, right? So he is, for all intents and purposes, a freak of nature. He is fairly dysgenic. Selective breeding was not, well, actually, his original owners were breeders, but you know, as we all know, when dog breeding occurs, that's when a lot of incidents of incest happen. So he is fairly inbred, and it got to the point where it became a bit untamed, and so this is a byproduct of poor selective breeding. Everyone, this right here, but I did save him. His original owners wanted to drown him, and I said that's not going to happen. So I took him in for free, and to this day, he is living a pretty fulfilled life, as you can tell. And he's earning his keep here in the house. It's because of him that we get these donations in. So every donation that you send in is another day that Leo gets to live in this house. Of course, I am kidding, but he does love to join the stream and, you know, talk with the chat when he gets unleashed. And so like I said, let's also, when Leo gets released, he does stay for the remainder of the stream as far as he can tolerate it, unless, you know, he's feeling a bit antsy. So I'll have him on my lap here. And he kind of sits like a teddy bear, but I will have him on lap and try to have him on the screen for the stream for as long as he can. Okay. All right, Leo, how are you feeling? I'm just reading the chat here. He feels pretty content. All right, so I still had a lot more to read about the Pope situation, and I did want to finish those. So let me pull those stories up here for you guys. I also found this article that I found fairly interesting. Israel shares, then deletes condolences over Pope's death. Interesting. Leo disliked the pit bull topic last time. Yeah, Row House, Leo was not big in the pit bull topic. The PQ question, as we call it, the PQ, the P question. Or the PB question, perhaps. We talked about pit bulls quite a bit last week. I don't know if you guys, for the new viewers in the stream, there has been a pretty big spike in pit bull attacks, and I was very interested in as to why that was happening. So I talked about it on the stream, but Leo did come out for one of those topics, didn't you, boy? You didn't like it, did you? No, it made him uncomfortable. Okay, Jerusalem. Let's now go. That's all the way. Let's go to Jerusalem. Okay, enough of Leo. Let's all go to Jerusalem. Envision it right now. Jerusalem, April 22nd of this year. The Israeli government shared and then deleted a social media post offering condolences over the death of Pope Francis. Without saying why, though, an Israeli newspaper linked the decision to the late pontiff's criticism of the war in Gaza. Okay, so some shenanigans have happened on social media the other day. The verified @Israel account had posted on Monday a message yesterday on social media, on Twitter, X, quote, "Rest in peace, Pope Francis. May his memory be a blessing," alongside an image of the Pope visiting the Western Wall in Jerusalem. The Jerusalem Post quoted officials at the foreign ministry as saying that the Pope had made statements against Israel, and that social media post had been published in error. It doesn't seem like it was an error. It seemed like it was pretty deliberate in its messaging, but alas, they probably, whoever posted that, whatever intern was involved with that, didn't know. The foreign ministry with social media platform X states on its website, linked to the verified @Israel account, @Rizreal, I almost said @Rizreal, @Israel account did not immediately respond to Reuters' request for comment. Francis, who died on Monday at the age 88, suggested last November that the global community, I clicked on the wrong article, suggested in November that the global community should study whether Israel's military campaign in Gaza constitute a genocide of the Palestinian people, and some of his most explicit criticism yet of Israel's conduct in its war with Hamas in October 23. In January, the Pope also called the humanitarian situation in Gaza shameful, promoting criticism from Rome's chief Jewish rabbi, who accused Francis of selective indignation. Interesting. Okay. Israel says accusations of genocide in its Gaza campaign are baseless and that it is solely hunting down Hamas and other groups. I'm telling you guys, it was probably just some intern that didn't know about this context and just made that post. It just doesn't look very good for Israel right now. I'm going to skip forward. Relations between the Catholic Church and Judaism have improved in recent decades after centuries of animosity. So, obviously, if you're familiar with the history between Judaism and the Catholic Church, not the best relations. That's why I found this story interesting. Was thinking it was perhaps somewhat related to that, but it turns out it's more, everything's political, but it has to do with the war specifically. So, kind of weird how they, walked back on that immediately after. Good night, Cecilia H. Thank you so much for joining the stream today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time on Thursday. Thank you for joining Culturama. Pope Francis was usually careful during his 12-year pontificate about taking sides in conflicts, and he condemned the growth of anti-Semitic groups, while also speaking by phone with Gaza's tiny Christian community every evening during the war. Nice. Francis in 2014 visited the Western Wall, the most sacred prayer site in Judaism, also known as the Wailing Wall, and also prayed at the section of the wall built by Israel in the occupied West Bank, dividing Jerusalem and Bethlehem. So obviously it has taken great strides into, rectifying the previous negative relations and conflict between Judaism and the Catholic Church. But still, considering all of that, I do find it pretty... I do take issue with the fact that they would tweet that and then delete it or private it or whatever, considering the lengths that Pope Francis took to ameliorate those conflicts between the two religions. But regardless, I guess it wasn't enough. Foreign pilgrims, by the way, you guys, and visitors to the Vatican comment on the passing of Pope Francis. There are major pilgrimages happening, and I wanted to cover that as well, so let's quickly watch this. Look at that.
I do think he was very outspoken on issues, especially yesterday's message about Gaza and Israel and Ukraine and Russia, and I think his message to political leaders is very important, and I think that the papacy will continue to have influence on world leaders.
Para mim, o Papa Francisco representa grande pastor, né? Assim como também grande amigo para todos nós. O Papa representa o próprio Pedro para nós e ele é aquele que fortifica a nossa fé, aquele que testifica também aquilo que a gente acredita.
Since I don't follow Christianity,
but I did know about him and the.
Today, this guy's not even a Christian, but he's still here. So
knew about.
Definitely, Pope Francis is definitely a figure beyond just being the Catholic Pope. I mean, Elijah Fry wants to squeeze the dog. I'll squeeze him for you, Elijah. Oh, Leo! I guess I squeezed him too hard. My boy, I'm so sorry, Leo. The voices won that time. I apologize. I don't squeeze him that often, you guys. Clearly, he was a bigger figure than just in the religious context. He was granted, politically, he did not have the power to be a global leader, but he essentially was. He had great sway and influence over political power, not just in the region where he lived, but all across the globe. And this goes hand in hand with church history. Back when we still had a diverse range of monarchies, the church was very influential in that as well, or the Catholic Church specifically. And that still happens today. So,
how big a personality he was for this church. So yeah, I think it's a big loss for not just for the Vatican City, but for the entire world.
Pues aunque sabíamos que ya estaba delicado, ¿verdad? Pero no nos esperábamos que fuera a faltar. Fue algo muy triste porque pues era el primer papa latino, ¿no? Argentino, algo importante. Y este papa vino a cambiar las cosas. Y ahora pues que fallezca pues es algo muy triste.
Dearest liver,
there you go. I just thought that was interesting. Also, but a little bit, I mean, it's still related to the news, but a little different. There has been a spike. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but there has been a spike in Catholic converts. Priest says U.S. Catholic community was busy in a good way, as stats show massive wave of young adults converting. Now, I've talked about this on my show before. I'm going to talk about it in the future at great length. Since we are hitting at the 2-hour mark, I want to get to my other topics here. I'm exhausting this one a bit, but I did want to quickly read this article. At some point in the stream, I want to cover the spike of conversions we've seen in Christianity in general. It's not just the Catholic Church. There has been a spike in Protestant conversions, actually. I think I saw statistics saying it was more so than Catholicism, but I'll have to find those stats. But we have been seeing a massive spike in conversions amongst Generation Z. It's very interesting. Generation Z desires more tradition, ritual, and culture, historical culture. Once again, this is, of course, a generation that was raised in broken families with single parents, and with a lack of tradition, culture, and even living with amongst a community. So Generation Z certainly is reminiscing of a time or of an experience that they've never had before. So I think there is a deeper psychological cause that is leading younger generations to convert. A lot of it, of course, I understand, is the cultural element of Christianity that they so crave. I want to talk about the stream at greater length in the future, but for now, like I said, I am exhausted with the topic. So let's just read this quickly. But I did want to cover this because I've noticed days before Easter, a lot of my mutuals and a lot of other bigger accounts that I follow, got converted to the Catholic Church. So let's read this. Converts cited internet videos of the church's rootedness in history for inspiring them to join the Catholic faith. There's a spike of converts in Roman Catholic Church as young adults reportedly seek moral order after the pandemic years. The pandemic was also a very big contributor for this. Of course, it was Easter Sunday, so there will obviously be a lot more converts on Easter. When I went to church, I went to a Protestant church, but there was like 20, 30 people maybe after the service walking down the aisle to become a Christian. They gave their life up for Jesus Christ that day. Very beautiful ceremony, or sermon rather. But on Easter Sunday, obviously there's going to be far more converts, so that would make sense. But this seems to be I do not live in Marysville, Fiery Waco. Is there like a location here that says that? I live near Marysville. I don't live in Marysville. But anyways, while many people convert to the Catholic faith at any time of the year, the Easter season is when many choose to do so. According to the National Catholic Register, certain dioceses, I can't pronounce this word, dioceses are reporting an increase of 30 to 40 and 50%, or even more than 70% of this year. One particular diocese in Fort Worth, Texas, has seen a spike in numbers where the number of converts from 896 at Easter 2023 to over 1,524, an increase of 72%. Father Will Stratton, the pastor at St. Mary's Catholic Center in Texas, argued that the National Catholic Register that many new converts are desperate for authenticity. The students who aren't Catholic are hungry and are looking for something. People are just looking for something that's authentic and real. Like I said, with Generation Z, they want community, they want tradition, they want a sense of ritual. I think that's why a lot of them do want to convert to high churches, is because it does have that sense of ritual that they have so lacked for the grand duration of their childhood and upbringing. They're looking for something that's grounded and seems to make sense to them. The New York Post also spoke to a priest and several new Catholics about the recent wave of conversions across the country, particularly among young adults. Father Raymond Maria LaGrange of St. Vincent Ferrer in Manhattan, quite the title there, confirmed that at least 3/4 of his new converts are in their 20s or early 30s. And it was really after the pandemic that the parish in general started to grow. Some were Protestants, some were non-religious, some were Catholics who never practiced the faith, both men and women. Some well off, others living day to day. So a broad range of demographics, right? Some are intellectuals, some are mystics, some got to know Catholics who brought them in. It is a fun time to be a priest. It's busy, but in a good way. So very interesting development here. Now, I have seen a lot of Christians make the assertion that we are undergoing a new reawakening. We have seen an uptick of church attendance the last few years. Once again, not just in the Catholic tradition, in all religion or Christian traditions, but perhaps are we now entering in a reawakening yet again? Here, there's a term in Protestantism that describes this, and I forgot what it. Someone can help me out, maybe in the chat. It's the Great Awakening. That there's another term for this that the Protestants use this quite often, but there are periods of time when people will sort of like participate more in the Christian tradition or attend more Christian churches. Services. There seems to be like cycles in which this occurs, and we have seen this throughout the history of the United States, starting with the American founding onward. So that seems to be we're entering another time period in which there is this reawakening, the spiritual reawakening, so to speak. Now, not Reformation, CS, there's another word for it. I can't think of it right now. This word I don't use very often, so I don't remember. The Great Awakening was one of them. There is a term. Anyways, I don't remember. But where are you originally from, ma'am? Poland, Slovakia, Serbia, American. I was born in America. My parents were from the Soviet Union. So, if you can hear somewhat of an accent or something, that's because my first language was Russian, actually. But my father's Ukrainian. My mother is of the Republic of Georgia. So, there you are. Hope that answers your question. Yeah, this is okay. So the rootedness in ancient history is at the core of the Catholic Church's sense of authenticity. This is a claim I hear. A lot of my mutuals say this. This is why revival. Thank you, revival. Revival. That's the word. Thank you. That's what I was thinking of. Throughout the history of America, there has been multiple revivals. And a lot of this is tied to the Protestant tradition, though. Interestingly enough, we seem to be invoking or experiencing another revival, but it seems to be people are also entering just as much so in the older traditions, such as Catholicism and Orthodoxy. That's the word I was thinking of. Thank you so much. We're entering another revival. Of course, there are so-called, or you could call them pseudo-revivals or proto-revivals throughout the history of Europe, within church history. The Reformation is a big example, but of course there are others previous to that, as well as the founding of the Catholic Church. But revival more so implies like these movements, religious movements within America, within the Protestant tradition. Protestants are big on revivals. And of course, you know, you have the root of evangelicals taking part of this, which is like a offshoot of Protestantism. I am more of a traditional Protestant, however, you know, if evangelicals have their place, of course. But revivals should be done in a tent, fight me. Of course, at Fire Waco, I have experience in the Pentecostal tradition, so I think those are very fun. I would agree with you there. Much more fun in a tent, especially when they handle snakes. Anyways, I just want to make this point. The rootedness of ancient history. So there is this claim that, particularly with high churches, specifically with Catholicism, that it is, you know, the rock in which the original Christian church founding was based on, you know, Peter and so forth. Catholic Church means universal church, by the way, with the Globo situation I was talking about. But anyways, let me stick to this point. I do understand that claim, and I do understand that being, you know, as a Christian, I do understand that being enticing to convert to that, because as far as the founding is concerned, the Catholic Church does seem to be more authentic. There is this notion, this conception that Protestant traditions and churches are a more diluted form of Christianity. However, you know, as you've come to see with the previous statements of the Pope, there seems to be a diluted or warped understanding of what doctrine means or application of doctrine, even within the, you know, the Catholic Church and from the Pope himself and its leadership. Regardless, I think dilution happens on all traditions and all levels. Just depends on the individual, right? Now, I personally, as a big believer in the zeitgeist, I want to say this part. I think that, you know, with the Reformation being as revolutionary as it was in Europe, not only was it a religious revolution, it was a conceptual revolution. The printing press was the Gutenberg press was founded at this time, right? You did have the dispersion of more Bibles and more accessibility to this information that Europeans didn't have at that time. I truly believe that the Reformation was a necessary component of Christian history and would lead into the American founding. So we do see this line of consciousness in history sort of like evolve throughout the processes of the evolution of civilizations, you know, of cultures and so forth, and the founding of other nations. It's religious as much as it is political. And with the zeitgeist of Christianity being as it was, from the beginning, from Constantinople onward, up until the founding of the Americas, it's difficult for me to assert that, you know, pulling back to more traditionalist interpretations of Christianity, or rather practices, not even interpretations of Christianity, I don't think is necessarily, I don't think it's a salient way of understanding Christianity. I think that the zeitgeist is evolving, it is changing. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to be progressive, okay? It doesn't necessarily mean that you can warp doctrine. The Bible is very clear, for instance, on what it asserts about gay unions, for instance. It's very clear. Of course, there's difference of opinion on interpretation of these texts or the context of these texts, but more or less there are certain doctrines that are pretty obvious. There are certain interpretations of the Bible that are pretty obvious. One of which, of course, is the main law, which is believing in Jesus Christ's resurrection. And, you know, if you don't believe that, I'm sorry to say you're not a Christian. Even if you believe it in the metaphorical sense or the symbolic sense, you're not a Christian. You have to believe it actually happened. And then from there, you gain the Holy Ghost or the Spirit. Regardless, the zeitgeist is ever evolving. And so that obviously stems from the Catholic Church, which was inspired at one point, and maybe to some degree it is. But from there, it goes into the Protestant practices and then onward multiple other denominational foundings within the United States. And so, therefore, that is why I am a Protestant. Hegel was Protestant, by the way, the guy who had actually termed the Zeitgeist. Well, actually, I'm sorry. Hegel did not term the Zeitgeist. Was actually it was a German concept previous to him, but he appropriated it quite a bit from Schelling. So, Protestantism is a heresy against God from a Catholic perspective, but Catholics have heard and answered every claim for centuries. Perhaps I went to another reason why I'm Protestant is because I went to Calvinist school, and if you know anything about Calvinism, that probably should answer your question as to why I am not Catholic as well. Okay, so that is my spiel on that. By the way, this was crazy. Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted this today. There were major shifts in global leaderships. Evil is being defeated by the hand of God. I thought that was pretty savage of her to tweet this, literally hours after the announcement of the Pope's death, but MTG, I guess, going hard. Not the best for her Catholic following and community. Okay, well, I have exhausted that topic. I wanted to talk about Kanye next. Leo's getting antsy. Maybe he needs to eat less red dye. There he is. We already have religious wars happening in the comments where I don't have my Islamic sound effect up. At the end of the day, you guys, how I look at it is that we're all Christian. As long as you believe that Christ died and rose again in 3 days, and you believe in the legitimacy of the Holy Spirit, I don't think there's anything beyond that you really have to believe to be saved. All these denominational interpretations and applications, I think, are more or less important, but it doesn't, Catholic, Protestant, evangelical, whatever, at the end of the day, it's the salvation that matters, and that's in the belief of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Aloha Akbar, yes. People are reading hard in the comments there, in the chat. Repent of your sins, chat. Okay, you guys, I want to talk about Kanye and his gay love affair with his cousin, so I will be right back. I'm going to pull those up. We'll cover a little bit about that and about some of the stats of the sexual misconduct within the Black community. I think you guys will enjoy it, so stay tuned. Please like and share the stream. Also, please join the AP for Liberty shop as well. If you love coffee, you can get coffee there. I will drop a link in the chat for that here shortly, so please visit that on this commercial break, everyone. I will be right back. Okay? Stay tuned.
You know I'm standing firm while the world keeps a turn, trying to shake my freedom, but I ain't gonna frown. But darling, darling, hold your goblin hand. All you both can dictate, but I'm learning to stand with the spirit of the wild. Yeah, I'm ready to fight. I know more mindless cranking soul. I got my eyes open. Heavy, I can't sway. I'm fighting for its rights, and call me the free range mind. Never gonna waver. I'm a rebel with a cause. While others search for safety, I'll be raising my voice. Honey, I got my dreams and live with all my woes. I'll be living for tomorrow. Let the whole world know. Cause freedom not a game, it's a rhythm in my soul. Reaching for the stars, yeah, that's how I roll. Baby, I can't sway. I'm fighting for my rights, and call me the free range mind. and it won't be tame. With every stride and stride I take, I'll always proclaim, stand tall, stand proud, let the people know my name. In the night we rise, in the morning the same. Baby, I can't sway, I'm fighting for my rights, and call me the free-range mind.
This is what we hold, values that keep us grounded still. Stand up for what is right, don't let the world make your will. Freedom and balance, it's here to stay. So let's embrace this life our way. Tradition calls, if you don't stand firmly, hold it tight. If you let go of the reins, you'll miss your connection. So share a smile today in this community that we build. With love and respect, that's how our hearts can fill. We carry forward, we know our truth. In this great land, it's our time to move. If you want to stand firm, you'll lay in new direction. Hold it tight. If you let go of the reins, you'll miss your connection.
Okay, you guys, I am back. Welcome to Culturama, where we despise commies. I see that Entropy Nomad is using the commies emoticon. No, you can't even read it. It's kind of tiny. I'll try to make more tonight. I want to make more emotes. I'm addicted to creating emotes for you guys. I used to have a Discord, and I would make a ton of emotes for Discord. That was a good days. Now I'm making for Rumble. Anyways, you guys, I don't know if you've heard, but Kanye has quite the history with his cousin. I wanted to cover this because you'll see why. You'll see why. There's going to be an offensive statistics segment. But let's watch this video. I'm going to go in my other scene here. Let's listen to this. This is kind of big.
And you can't explain love. You know, my cousin is locked up for murder, and I love him. And so he did a bad thing, but I still love him. And you can't
this is obviously not the tweet I'm talking about, but this is a video providing context. Here, Kanye is speaking at a night show, talking about how he loves his cousin, who is now in jail. Make Leo grunt in the mic, writes Elijah Fire. Let's see. Leo grunt. Do you hear that? You're trying to shake it out, but he's rock solid. Sorry, Elijah. But Kanye has made a public statement, and for those that don't know, Ye, formerly known as Kanye, said that he used to commit oral sexual acts on his cousin up until the age of 14. When did he exactly start doing these acts? We don't know. It's speculated as young as 6 or 7. And he has done this up until he was 14 years old. Now, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate this happened to Ye. Of course, it may explain a lot about him. And here is a clip previous to that of him describing how he had loved his cousin. Now, like I said earlier when I started the stream, it does get a little dark at times. We have just talked about the death of a pope, and now we're talking about sexual misconduct. And I do want to talk more about the sexual misconduct within the Black community, because it is a pervasive problem, and this is one that actually a lot of people don't talk about, and it goes quite a bit unreported, or underreported, I guess. But here's an article detailing what we are covering. Kanye West admits to committing incest with cousin as a child in a new song. Obviously, I'm not going to play the song here. Not because I think it's dirty, only because I think it would be a copyright thing. But Kanye Ye West claimed that him and his cousin, who was locked up in jail for killing a pregnant lady a few years, acted out certain things from dirty magazines. Okay? Kanye West made a disturbing claim about his cousin in a new song. The Vultures rapper posted a video on X, formerly known as Twitter. I can't believe we're still elucidating this on articles now. Of his new songs, Cousins. The video shows a variety of random visuals of video games and semi-pornographic images. In the song, Ye can be heard rapping about the time he stumbled across adult magazines as a kid he found in his late mother Donda's closet. In the post, he explained the inspiration for the song and claimed that it was about his cousin who was locked up in jail for killing a pregnant lady. He wrote, the song is called Cousins, about my cousin that's locked in jail for life for killing a pregnant lady, after I told him we wouldn't look at dirty magazines together anymore. He continued then to say, perhaps in my self-centered mess, I felt it was my fault that I showed him those dirty magazines when he was 6, and then we acted out what we saw. My dad had Playboy magazines, but the magazines I found in the top of my mom's closet were different. My name is Ye, and I sucked my cousin's, he gave fellatio to his cousin till I was 14. I don't have any sound effects for this one, fellas. Let's see, what do I have here? I have clown sound, I have conspiracy sound. Oh, here's one. FBI, open up! The rapper did not name the cousin, but in 2018, he gave his cousin a shout out in an interview with Jimmy Kimmel when he was asked about Donald Trump's presidency. He said, my cousin is locked up for murder and I love him, the clip that we just saw. So he did a bad thing. I still love him. Fans also wonder if the cousin Ye is referring to his new song, the one that he mentions in No More Parties in LA. He raps, as far as a real friends, I told all my cousins I love them, even the ones that stole the laptop, you dirty mother effer. So that is a context of what we are talking about today. Now, for those that are unaware, sexual misconduct is actually a very common, it's common in any community and, demographic. But it's fairly prevalent in the Black community, more so than we even think. Largely because it goes mostly unreported. Now, I want to touch on this given the present circumstances that we're in right now. But before I do that, I do have a donation, $1 from Entropy Nomad. Thank you, Entropy. You wrote South Park did it best, and you linked to a video. Let's watch that. Let me see if I can pull that up on screen here. Here we go, Entropy. I pinned your comment on accident. There we go. Oh, yes. I remember this clip. This is the classic one. You guys remember this clip, right?
Yo, Kanye, you sure about this?
It's time for me to stop running. I need to believe what people tell me. Let all my fans know I love them. But a gay fish just can't live in the outside world forever. Don't be sad for me, guys. I'm going home!
This makes a lot more sense now.
Come on.
I've been so lonely, girl. I've been so sad and down. Couldn't understand why haters joked around. I wanted to be free with other creatures like me. And now I got my wish. Cause I know that I'm a gay fish. Gay fish. Gay fish, yo. Motherfucking gay fish. Gay fish. I'm a fish, yo. Going on a gay fish.
Leo, cover your eyes.
It's alright, girl. Making love to other gay fish. All those lonely nights at the grocery store. In the frozen fish aisle, feeling like a whore. Cause I wasn't being true, even though everyone said that I had to make a switch. Gay fish. Now I know that I'm a gay fish. Gay fish. Gay fish, yo. Motherfucking gay fish. I'm a fish, yo. Going on a gay fish. Gay fish.
All of a sudden, that makes sense. Do you guys think that South Park is going to be like Simpsons in predicting a lot of these behaviors? Unless I'm completely out of the loop and it's been like a common talking point or rumor that he's gay, or at least has done gay behaviors. Actually, there we go. But a little offensive statistics for you guys. Let me pull up the offensive statistics. Hold on. We got it. It's a classic. Hold on a second.
Counting numbers driving me mad. To statistics piling, it's all up bad. Everywhere I look, numbers inside, adding this up, keeping me up at night. Oh, those figures dance and whirl in this cluttered number world.
The effects of sexual violence within the Black community. Members of the Black community not only experience higher rates of sexual violence, but also encounter barriers when it comes to seeking justice and support. Okay, so let's quickly read this. Some stats for you guys. 45% of Black women have experienced partner physical violence, intimate sexual violence. I'm sorry, intimate partner sexual violence and or intimate partner stalking. 40% of Black men have experienced physical violence, intimate partner sexual violence, or intimate partner stalkings as well. So not much of a difference. I mean, yes, 5%, slightly more than females, but it is pretty high in both here. 7% of Black women have experienced intimate partner sexual violence other than rape. 14.8% of Black men have experienced intimate partner violence other than rape. Culturally competent resources are often lacking when survivors of the Black community reach out for help. Black men in particular face the additional hurdle of stigmas and stereotypes within the community. Okay? So those are just some quick stats, but there's more. So in this article, it details, let me just read it out to you. Black men participating in college sports may be more vulnerable to sexual abuse. Now, why this would be the case, I don't know. But it seems to be the case that a lot of these people within this community, like I stated, obviously within the Black community, a lot of health issues go unreported. However, it is primarily projected that the Black community suffers quite a big deal from health issues, particularly diabetes and so forth. But on top of that, sexual abuse, primarily as it affects men, goes largely unreported. And in this study, shows, even though it's a case study, but it may reflect a lot of realities that are being experienced within the Black community collectively. Let's quickly summarize it. But as the headline suggests, Black men seem to be more vulnerable to sexual abuse, more than any other demographic, more than white men, Asian men, etc. Okay. As of 21, more than 25% of current and former student athletes reported being sexually assaulted or harassed by someone in a position of power, according to a survey. This startling, 25%, that's a quarter. This startling statistic, along with several highly publicized sexual abuse cases involving coaches, doctors, and other powerful members of the athletic department community. The athletic departments in the University of Michigan, or UM, the Ohio State University, Pennsylvania, and San Jose University, just to name a few, demonstrate the severity and scope of sexual violence in college athletics, okay? Like I said, this is going to be a case study, but it could be reflective of what's happening at a greater scale. In 2020, a group of 40 Black men who were former athletes at UM stated they were particularly vulnerable to decades of sexual violence because of their race or lower socioeconomic backgrounds. This individual, Robert Anderson, a former physician within UM's athletic departments, who was sexually assaulted more than 1,000 college athletes, it seems as though for the medical appointments and a 4-long career, Anderson died in 2008. Anyway, a grand majority, I believe 40% of those assaulted were Black men. Nearly 1 in 5 Black men in the U.S. have experienced some form of sexual violence, according to the CDC. Yet, this demographic is less likely to report such abuse. Black men are the least likely to report sexual violence, often because of a fear of being perceived as weak, in contrast to being viewed as the aggressor. Showing emotion about being abused, it's not well accepted, said Brian Johns, a survivor and activist. Okay, and then I did find this study as well from the National Library of Medicine, had this on their database. This is exposure to prison sexual assault amongst incarcerated Black men. Let's quickly look over this here. Over 1.6 million individuals are currently in prison in the U.S. Black men are, of course, more likely to be incarcerated. This is not news. We all know that black men are more likely to be incarcerated. Research predicts that every 1 in 3 black men will experience incarceration at some point during his life. Prisons are also notoriously violent, and exposure to violence is associated with a variety of negative outcomes, including elevated levels of depression or psychological distress, an increase in aggressive behavior, stimulating problems post-release. Now, exposure to sexual violence in prison is the most commonly feared experienced among inmates, and is consequential regardless of whether prisoners are directly or indirectly exposed. Due to differences in methodology and sampling, varying conceptualizations of sexual assault, and limited access to prison populations, estimates of sexual assault prevalence vary widely. However, I did want to bring this up. The larger male prison sexual assault literature presents mixed results with the extent in which incarcerated black men are involved in prison sexual assault. While some studies report that black men are disproportionately involved as sexual assault aggressors, additional research has concluded that incarcerated black men are also more likely to be sexually victimized. So, just so you guys are aware, within this study and additional studies supplementing it, they suggest that black men are more likely to be the aggressors as much as the ones affected by sexual assault. It seems to be that black men are the leading demographic in this, practice. However, in a recent case study of substantial cases of male prisoner sexual assault, more than half of the matched perpetrator-victim pairs included a black perpetrator and a non-black victim. Once again, blacks more likely to be aggressors, like I said. In this study, black men also had a 74% lower chance of becoming a non-penetration victim. The research on associations between racial background and prison sexual assault is thus continuously evolving. Now, if you look up the prevalence of sexual misconduct, sexual assaults within the black community among men, there's very, very little studies on this. So I only worked with what I had, of course. Also, it's important to note that this study is about incarcerated individuals, and black men are very likely to become incarcerated more than any other demographic, in relation to its population. So this could also, weigh into why this study shows that black men are the usual aggressors for sexual misconduct. But this is a topic that has not been investigated, has not been looked into, and it's a known stereotype that sexual misconduct is fairly prevalent within the black community, and like I said, goes a long way in being unreported. Black women are affected in this as much as black men. And with the, P. Diddy situation, as well as now the Kanye West situation that we have just been unfortunately exposed to, it seems to be the case that, and it begs the question about why we're not talking about this as much as we should. Now, the black community is very particular in the way that they engage with these topics. It very well could be that this goes unreported, obviously because black men feel uncomfortable in coming out about this. It's the same thing with the gay situation. The black community, for the most part in America, still not open to the LGBTQ plus lifestyle, not as much as white communities are. But however, homosexuality, obviously, as a lot of us, oh, sorry, Leo, I hit you, as we probably are well aware right now, is pretty prevalent in those communities, just as much as in white communities. But still, it is not dealt with, nor is it talked about within the members of that community, the black community specifically, as far as homosexuality is concerned, as well as sexual misconduct. And it goes a long way in saying that perhaps it's time that these communities deal with these topics if they want to better their community and better their themselves and their chances of a healthy livelihood. So I did want to bring these stats in mind. They're a bit uncomfortable, but they're also necessary to talk about, like I said, for the health and the livelihood of these people. Remember, it's an offensive statistic because it is true, says Entropy Nomad. Exactly. Now, I didn't want to like dive into that too much because I know it is an unsavory topic, but you know, it is one that is important. And you know, we may laugh and joke about Kanye's situation here, but you know, at the end of the day, it is pretty sad that happened to him, and it probably contributed, you know, quite a bit to his fragile mental state. And if we want a community to thrive and to better its people, it's probably in their best interest that we acknowledge the issues contributing to why they have problems and, you know, maybe even rectify it. Did you guys see this video of Nancy Mace?
I would like to. Does your husband call you babe? Okay, so even better. I don't care. Okay, so I would like for you to apologize, but it is derogatory, and second of all. Is tranny derogatory to you?
Yeah. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, tranny. If that's derogatory,
and the transgender there, or the tranny, takes the plant. So tranny is one of those words that kind of like retard. It underwent a process of slurification where the general public, or I guess the woke public, tried to make it into a slur, but it ordinarily wasn't a slur, and now it's becoming more mainstream to say. Troon is another one. But Nancy Mace is going out of her way, I guess, to normalize the usage of this word, and we see this individual kind of losing their mind, and that was a whiplash reaction to that.
Okay, so even better. I don't care. Okay, so
yeah, the woman hit her second puberty.
Is derogatory, and second of all. Is tranny derogatory to you?
Yeah. Why would they do that?
Yeah, tranny.
Nancy Mace is wild. Here's another video. I thought that was quite humorous. Some unhinged lunatic, a man wearing Daisy Dukes at a makeup store, got in my face today. Dems are nuts, so I went off, and I won't be backing down. I hold the line 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. God bless you, Nancy Mace. Try me. Let's watch this video.
Marriage twice.
What does that have to do
so
with me?
I'm just saying, it has everything to do with you.
You think everything about me has to do with gay marriage?
I do,
That's
absolutely.
your first stance when you
Yep.
speak with me?
Absolutely.
There's no other humane
if you want to get in my
conversation
face
you can
about
have
town
me?
halls, you should have shown up
There's
to
no
one
other
last
humane
year.
thing you can talk about me just saying, oh, I support gay marriage.
Yeah,
That's
because
the
you're
only thing
getting
you
in my
have to
face
say.
about a town hall. You
Oh,
could have
just
gone
asking one
last year.
simple question from right
Would you
over
like
here
me?
is if you have any plans to have more town halls this year?
I have town
That was
halls
one
every year.
question.
I have over a dozen
Okay.
every year.
Great, that was my entire question. You didn't have to go
Yeah,
into this spiel about
you
everything
could
else
have.
you
You could have come to any
Daisy
of them
Dukes.
last year.
Okay. And I'm
I had
asking
over a
about this year, not
dozen.
2024. But
Where were you the year
right?
before that, or the year before that?
It was a simple
Oh,
question. I
because you
asked
know
if
what?
have
Because you
anyone
people
that you're
on the
going to
left
this
are
year or not.
crazy.
So I'm
You're
on the left.
absolutely fucking
The
crazy.
reification of
You are-
America
get out
and the
of my
woke.
get out of my face.
You're insane.
Goodbye.
You're insane.
Fuck you.
You're gonna fuck me.
Oh,
You're
yep.
gonna be voted
Bye.
out so fast
She
this
doesn't
year.
care.
I'm not.
For you to fucking
I'm not.
go
I
into
won
the
by
job.
so much.
You're a disgrace to this state. That's what you are. You're a disgrace. I asked you a simple question, and you just to go on this tirade and tell me "fuck you."
Yeah, fuck you.
Disgusting.
Get out of my face.
Fuck you.
Get out of my face. Try it again. What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? Yep, I sure did. Absolutely. Get the fuck out of my face. Now. Fuck you. You couldn't take me on, baby. Stay the fuck away from me.
Got him. Typical Nancy Mace. Beautiful. Now, you know, she has her haters just as much as she has her lovers. She's sort of like the new MTG. But you gotta admit, she does have a lot of guts. She doesn't give a crap. Respectability politics is over, says Mr. Pig. Exactly. Respectability politics is over. We're gonna say tranny, whether you guys like it or not. We are going to reclaim these words. We should not be having these instances where we can't say certain words anymore, okay? You know, I understand that swearing, perhaps, it's bad optics to a certain degree. Yes, we need to have some decorum in tradition. But we also shouldn't have or imply slurification of every other word that just happens to shorten a phrase or just makes someone mildly uncomfortable. Does anyone remember this classic video of Nancy Mace?
The gentlelady has used a phrase that is considered a slur in the LGBTQ community and the transgender community. And let me please finish without interruption. And
tranny. I don't really care. You want penises in women's bathrooms, and I'm not going to have it.
Okay.
No, thank you.
It's
disgusting.
The gentlelady has used a phrase that is considered a slur in the LGBTQ community and the transgender community. And let me please finish without interruption. And
tranny. I don't really care. You want penises in women's bathrooms, and I'm not going to have it.
Okay.
No, thank you.
It's
disgusting.
The gentlelady has used a phrase.
Like I said, that's when she first
that is
introduced it, I
considered a
guess.
slur.
She doesn't really care how she looks one way or the other, and good. Like I said, who needs the slurification of words? We should be able to have the freedom to use a language, okay? The censoring of language is becoming intolerable, especially since COVID. It's time we reclaim back the ability to speak. Is there a better slur for tranny? Says Fiery Waco. I guess troon. Now troon is a big one. It's a bad one. Can't say troon apparently. I see it used online all the time, but I don't know. And that's also considered intolerable. I meant intolerable, Elisha Fire. That word is considered a slur now. It's essentially the same thing. Believe me, there are far worse words we can use to describe transgender people. Tranny is one of the more appropriate ones. Trunaloon, Trantard. But Nancy Mace is crazy. She has a bright future in American politics. She already has a bright future, a bright presence in American politics. It'll be interesting to see what other antics she's going to do moving forward. Elijah says, no, I like intolerable. Ow, I hurt my wrist when I did that. He wants me to say intolerable, not intolerable. Absolutely. Intolerable, Elijah Fire, if that's what you prefer. Oh, I'm sorry, Leo. Okay. So, I covered all my major topics. I know that Oblivion came out. A lot of people are talking about that. Maybe I'll touch on that and then wrap up the stream here. Let me see. Let me find the Oblivion stuff. Really. Oblivion. Another game to give you motion sickness. I don't know if my computer can handle Oblivion, to be honest with you, Fiery Waco. Oh, yes, this is what I wanted to cover. So, Oblivion came out, and they changed a few things. I don't know anything about Oblivion or Elder Scrolls. Is that what it's related to? Elder Scrolls? Yeah. I don't know much about it, so, I'm going to come in this completely blind, but I do understand that this has caused quite a stir today, and, since I do have a portion of my audience does like video games, it's my prerogative. I'm going to talk about it, but I am obligated to a degree. But I also find this interesting. So this is a change they did, for those that don't know. Why did they do this? There was zero need to change this in Oblivion Remastered to bring back the original male-female dichotomy. So they apparently have two choices you can pick from body types, male or female. Sexual dimorphism, occurs in video games as much as it does in real life. But instead, they changed the names as Type 1 or Type 2. This is what I'm wondering. This sort of I think this is worse. I don't know which. It looks like the male is type 2 in this situation because type 2 looks selected. But regardless, whether female's type 2 or male's type 2, it's sort of like a descending order in a way. At least male and female are two distinct body types, right? But instead, they use type 1, which you naturally would link to being the better option. And then type 2, kind of like player 2, the less viable option. I wonder if type 2 is female or male. In this screenshot, it looks male. I'm not sure. Let me see if I could find a YouTube video of it. But yes, they are terrified of suggesting that sexual dimorphism exists in Oblivion. Okay, let's see. Oblivion body types. I'm gonna look it up, see if it's just gamers talking about it. We need to get her some quality Adderall, says Elijah Fire. Yeah, I'm losing it. Let's see what maybe this chick will
Get ready.
will explain. It looks like she had the screen up. Hey, they had the Roman bust like I do. I have a Roman bust. It's Artemis. It's not whatever that was. It looks like she doesn't play the video
to go in, but I am sure that they're in the industry. Maybe there are developers out there that are backgrounds
I just want to see the
let's update BF.
I just want to see the screen. She's just talking about it like I am. Typical femoid behavior. Remastered goes woke, swap body types. Let's see, maybe this guy will. Nice.
Gender, male, female. You pick your race, type 2. New character creation screen.
No, it's just a screenshot.
Body type 1, body type 2. You pick your age, young, old, whatever. And also your complexion, skin tone.
Entropy Nomad liked the previous YouTuber we're watching. I don't know who she
This is pretty much causing a lot of controversy. People
Everyone's just referring to the screenshot. I don't know what does. No one have like an actual walkthrough. No, apparently no one's played the game. We're just talking about it. Okay, well, Leo, relax. Oh, nice. What's this? This looks awesome.
Why aren't you playing Skyrim? Why are you watching me?
Sick. It's probably on the Steam page. Okay. Well, I just wanted someone to do like a walkthrough. 16 years ago, I saw this video. I was just curious to see if type 1 was male or type 2. I guess it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's gay one way or the other, regardless of them changing it. I mean, it's gay regardless. Alrighty. Well, everyone, this has been the Culturama stream. I truly do hope that you enjoyed it. I'm sorry if I offended any sensibilities. I had another article up about Tesla profits dropping, but for Earth Day. But you know what? I think it's been 3 hours, and I think it's time for us to retire for tonight. I sufficiently enjoyed this stream, so I'm gonna do my everything is gay computer. Exactly, Grizz Cheese. Beautifully said. You guys, this has been a very successful stream. We have successfully unleashed the beast. We have talked about, necessary topics. We've talked about religion. We've talked about spirituality, politics, all the usual aspects of the show. And I had a great time, and I hope you guys did too. I think you guys did. You guys like the emotes? That's awesome. I hope you guys like the new commercial I made. I want to make more. I'm going to make more. Thank you, Elijah Fire. Sleep well, milady, he says. Sleep well, milady. Absolutely. Thank you. I'm going to do my outro, you guys. And we have a guest coming. We have Disgraced Propagandist. You can find him on Twitter. I'm going to be interviewing him on Thursday, and I think you guys will sufficiently enjoy that. Let me do an outro song here. Wait a second. Where's my outro song?
In the heart they gather strong, pushing
All right, everyone.
the lefties strong.
We have all engaged and participated successfully in the Zeitgeist today, where we are reclaiming main traditional elements of the American culture. I want to thank you all that have participated in the discourse today and will participate in the future. Thank you for unleashing the beast, and thank you for everyone that has joined and spoken with me today as well in the comments. I hope to see you on Thursday, and in the meantime, have a lovely evening, and let's all reclaim the zeitgeist together and break down the infectious elements of postmodernism, everyone, and so we can take back tomorrow today. I hope you guys have a lovely evening, and I'll see you all on Thursday. God bless and good night.
In the eagle's shadow by, we find our strength and take our pride. Let the voices echo loud, tearing through the waiting crowd. We've got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down. Across the plains and mountains tall, hear the victory call. With courage and with might we strive, in the light of freedom's guide. We got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now.